Steel Toes and Scoreboards podcast. Like us on Facebook and Twitter. Hey, Kurt, you want a hot take?
Yeah.
Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame.
He was a great deep strike hitter.
Bill Laimbeer would have made Shaq piss himself.
Oh, for sure.
Fun fact, Kurt.
Oh, for sure. I read Keith Stats. Good research, bro.
Word association.
Greatest of all time.
Tell me how you really feel about pro sports.
These contracts are out of control.
Some people might not like that.
Well, I'm going to piss some people off.
Well, I mean, you sure will. You're the baseball guru, though, man. You sure will.
Shout out to my coach, Joe Rodmaker.
Well, it is a digital world these days.
Yeah, I'm an analog.
Tiger Woods.
Mount Rushmore, bro.
Coach Bobby Knight.
You misses him, no doubt.
Times have changed.
But for the better of the worse.
Times have changed. No, that's arguable. I'll tell you right now, though, it's modern age. I'm not drug testing for pot anymore in any sport.
It's a damn plant. They fire and suspend these guys for weed. Ridiculous.
I'm a fountain of useless pro wrestling.
Sure bet.
Sound like Adam Sweet. Sure bet. He was a role model for millions.
Rest in peace, Mamba.
Team Ali.
Team Tyson, peace, Mamba.
You know what? Fuck it. You're baseball's new commissioner.
I don't want that job.
You're baseball's new commissioner. Oh, horse shit.
Come on, bro.
Magic versus Bird.
What a rivalry.
Okay. Boost ratings.
Asses in the seats.
You know what? Hot take. Captain Mike. He's the best I've ever seen.
Nobody compares to him.
He's the best
Look
I've
at his
ever
legs.
seen.
Nobody compares to him.
All right, guys. Another episode of Steel Toes and Scoreboards coming to you now. All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Steel Toes and Scoreboards. Jared Atkins alongside my co-host, Kurt Kelly. Kurt, what's up?
Good evening, bro.
We were cracking up listening to our re-recorded intro we done after the episode 2 weeks ago. It sounds like you say deep sluts instead of deep stats. Sorry, not safe for work language, but it sounds like he
When
said.
I was reading it there, I had to take a second look at it because I thought this is what it said.
We were cackling listening to this shit.
Oh, funny.
I'm an analog man. I have fun with you.
Right on, bro.
So how you doing, man?
I'm doing okay.
We survived a hellacious week at work this past week, didn't we?
Hot.
Had to swamp butt.
Hot.
Had to swamp butt every day.
Gold bond.
Gold bond on supply. Whew. I'm not supposed to say this, but Kirk come up to me the other day and goes, "You got any gold bond on your desk?" I said, "Got some gold bond on the bottom shelf underneath my desk." He said, "I might need some of that later." I said, "It's no mess powder spray. Perfect for concealing so you don't have everybody knowing you got swampy butt walking to the bathroom."
Man, it was hot, dude.
It was terrible.
If you wasn't in front of a fan,
Oh, I was in front of your fan.
miserable.
I mean, I was working. I was working, I promise.
Even though it was blowing hot air.
That's all I was doing.
At least there was some air, though.
Anyway, so I didn't really post on our Facebook page, but we got a little change of plans. Yep. We were originally supposed to talk about why there's no dynasties in college basketball anymore, and then
we got to thinking it ain't college basketball season.
No,
really.
I came up to you, and this is how it went. I came up to Kurt 2 days after we recorded the episode, Tyson vs. Ali, and I said, "I don't really want to do college basketball right now." Which, I mean, I'll talk sports anytime about anything.
Right.
But he said, "Well, what do you want to do?" I said, "I want to do baseball." And Kurt said, "Okay, well, let's cover another World Series." I said, "Okay, sure bet." And he said, "But you got to pick it." I said, "I got to pick it." So then I rattled off like 4 or 5 World Series suggestions, and we left that day thinking we were going to talk about the Cardinals Rangers in 2011, which is, in my mind and a lot of people's mind, one of the top 10 World Series of all time.
Great World Series, yeah.
David Freese.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Pujols last year with the Cardinals, I do believe, was that season, wasn't it? That was before the big deal. Yeah. But we ended up changing, and we got a treat for you guys. I call this the greatest World Series that people never talk about.
Damn good series.
Well, and I blew your mind because I showed you some stuff. This, if you hop on your Google machines and you Google top 10 World Series, top 25 World Series of all time, this one 90% of the time is in the top 3, sometimes top 5, but it's mainly a top 3 World Series, and it's fairly recent.
And you got to wonder how is it forgotten. You know?
We're coming up on the 30th anniversary of it.
Yep.
The 1991 World Series, Minnesota Twins versus the Atlanta Braves. And after I started talking to Kurt on it a little bit about it at work, when I started doing the research, Kurt's like, this was a damn good World Series. It's one not a lot of people think about.
Yeah, and it surprises me.
But so we're going to talk a little baseball tonight, which I
like.
So before we get into it, we were just talking about this when I got here to your thriving metropolis out here, your mansion in Alfordsville. I had to work Thursday night at the grocery store after we left the factory, which, by the way, our boss said you can go home at 2 o'clock, and I said, sure bet. I went straight. I clocked in 2.5 hours early at the grocery store because at least it's fucking air conditioning in there.
Right. It was that hot, folks.
But yeah, it was miserable in the factory all week. But Thursday night, the Yankees played the Chicago White Sox, the Field of Dreams. Kevin Costner did the opening for that, yes. And I watched it. I sent you the clip.
Yep. I watched it.
I missed the game because I had to work.
All I seen was the 9th inning. I just seen the 9th inning, but
I sent you the clip of the Kevin Costner opening. You how cool was that?
That might help put asses back in seats.
There's a lot of great baseball movies, but to me, Field of Dreams is always going to be number one. And then I'm going to put, believe it or not, and I don't know how alone in this I am, I'm always going to put Sandlot at number 2 because I was a kid growing up watching the Sandlot.
Great show, just pull it.
Wendy Peppercorn.
Peppercorn, yes.
Wendy Swince.
Swince.
I kissed Wendy Peppercorn.
Yeah, great show.
Great show.
Yeah.
Baseball is always going to be my first love.
The Natural was a good. Robert Redford.
Good
show. That was a good show.
I like Kevin Costner too.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, a lot of people don't know this. Kevin Costner is not a bad country music singer and songwriter as well.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, son.
Did not know that. Huh.
But we're not talking Kevin Costner today. We're going to talk the 1991 World Series.
The Twinkies and the Atlanta Chop. So before we get into this, plug a unofficial sponsor. And just because, bow season's coming up soon. And gun season. And I love these guys. Deer 30 Mineral. Check them out on Facebook. This is serious hardcore nutrition for your herd. And guaranteed to increase the impressiveness, if I can use that word, or lack of word, of your trophy case. I don't know a man that doesn't like a bigger rack. Yeah, that's right.
Interpret that how you will. I got on their website again tonight because right here in the computer, I usually, as you see, I don't have my format in front of us tonight.
See that.
So I was trying something different. I started putting the format in the notes so I don't have to keep glancing.
There you go. Yeah.
But I was looking on their website, and once again, they got a bunch of products. The one I harp on is the Clock Stopper. That's for serious bone mass growth here. But anyways, it's a little company down in Madisonville, Kentucky, which ain't too far. Madisonville ain't that far outside of Henderson. So give them a call at 270-339-7731. Send them a message on Facebook. Check them out on the website. Email them at deer30mineral.com. They do have samples they send out to some people. They keep telling me they're going to send out samples, which, like I always say, I ain't been in the woods in probably 5 years. I've got too fat and lazy, but I'm slimming down more and more every week, bro. If you can see me compared to a year and a half ago.
I can see it.
Yeah, so I might get back out there. They were supposed to send me samples, and if I get them, I might use them next year or give them to somebody. But anyways, for all you avid hunting enthusiasts,
heck, you could put some right in your backyard there.
I could. You've been there a million times. But all right, son, you ready to get into it?
Let's go.
Let's go. 1991 World Series featured the AL champion Minnesota Twins beating the NL champion Atlanta Braves in 7 games. I was 4 years old. I was really too young to know much about baseball. At 4, I could see people throw but as true sports fans, things that happened before your time, you read about it in history and you watch clips. And growing up throughout the years, I've come to realize how big and important the 91 World Series was. And going back to what I said a minute ago, get in your Google machines and seriously go look for the top 10 World Series of all time, the top 25. 9 times out of 10, this one's top 3, and if it's not top 3, it's in the top 10. And as I talked about in our first World Series episode a month and a half ago, the 85 World Series.
Great World Series. But they ranked.
Yeah,
it ranked up.
I will get to the ranking later, but what I was going to briefly touch on this. You know, after the 2020 World Series, ESPN.com and their staff did the article where they ranked it, and I'll have the ranking at the end of the notes. But all I'm going to say here is that this particular World Series came in second place. It was only bested by the 75 World Series between the Cincinnati Reds and the
Boston
Red Sox. And, you know, plus I kind of want to, we're 2 months away from the 30th anniversary of this.
Yeah.
So we're going to break it down. But
break it down.
Break it down. I want to point this out to you. You might think this is, I don't know if it's a fun fact or a funny fact.
I like any kind of fact.
Fun fact or a funny fact. Did I see if I? Hey, I got the sound pad set up the right direction this time. A year prior, in the 1990 Major League Baseball season, the Twins and the Braves both finished dead last in their respective leagues. Think about that a minute. You know, the 2 worst teams in baseball the year before contended for the World Championship the next year.
That's quite the turnaround.
That's quick turnaround. And according to my research, and you like deep stats, that's... I'm sorry, it's not safe for work, but I swear, when we wrote the script for the show opening, it looked like deep sluts instead of deep stats. My penmanship is atrocious, ladies and gentlemen.
I had to take a double take.
It did. It looked like... I can't believe
that's why it's a little pause there before I start in on
that. I can't believe I said deep sluts on air, but it looked... Anyways.
Yeah. Oh, well.
But before both World Series teams went from last to first in 91, the last team to accomplish this was the 1890 Louisville Cardinals in the old Double-A League days.
Wow. The Colonels.
The Louisville Colonels. Colonel Sanders? Kentucky Fried Chicken, maybe? I don't know.
Huh.
So, I love baseball, bro.
I do too.
I mean, college basketball. I love all sports, but I was just... Because I didn't really know how to research that while there's no dynasty in college basketball yet, so...
And it's not basketball season.
No, it is baseball season.
It is baseball season.
And I was like, I had a lot of fun doing the 85 World Series. Let's do another one.
I mean...
And I didn't realize, when we left work that day 2 weeks ago, I was dead set it was going to come down to the 2011 Rangers Cardinals, or it might have been 88. But the only reason I ever think about 88, I mean, it's your Dodgers. You bleed Dodger blue.
Oh, yeah.
It's the year after I was born, but Kirk Gibson's home run, which I believe I ranked in the top 5 greatest sports moments in the worst episode we've ever done.
It totally changed the whole complexion of it.
That's the only game. That's the only time he batted that entire World Series.
Yep.
All right. Anyways, we can talk about this shit all night long. I need to get us going here. So let's start breaking it down a little bit before we get to the meat and taters. Little backs, the AL champion Twins. This was in 91, the year they won. This was the second world championship they'd won since moving to Minnesota in 61. Do you know what year they won?
87?
That was the year I was born, 1987.
Yeah, they beat the I don't know, Cardinals?
You're gonna be mad about this.
Probably.
I didn't even look at who they beat in 87.
I'm thinking it was the Cardinals.
Well, I mean, it's our show. Why not my Google's faster than your Google?
Probably.
So, I mean, Kurt wants it done right, so we're going to look.
Well, I mean, I'm just kind of curious. Now, I was thinking it was...
It was the Cardinals.
Was it?
Yep.
And it was 7 games?
6
games.
4-3. No, it was 7 games. Yep. So during the 91 regular season, the Twins the Twins at one point in time had an MLB lead 15-game win streak, which to this day remains a club record as far as my knowledge. And again, I need to start prefacing this in every episode. To the best of me and Kurt's knowledge, everything we put in here that's not opinion-based is facts.
Right.
To the best of our knowledge. That if something is wrong, then we apologize, but I can only do what the research the internet gives me.
Right.
And the internet gives me notes, it gives me video, game tapes, so...
Yeah, it's going to be pretty much right on. I mean...
On June 18th, 1991, though, the 15-game win streak came to an end at the hands of the Baltimore Orioles. Boy, I fucked that word all up. But not before the Twins moved from 5th place in the division until first, a lead they would not relinquish until they won the World Series. The Twins' winning streak of 91 falls just 7 games short of the all-time AL record of 22 consecutive wins, set by the Cleveland Indians in 2017. I'm sorry. Look, I'm not racist. Kurt's not. I say things sometimes that comes off as ignorant and immature. It's a fucking name.
Yeah.
To me. I always said the Indians... I sat right here in your kitchen, I don't know how many weeks ago, what episode we was doing, when I said that the Cleveland Indians would never change their name. We was going off on a tangent about Washington National. And now they're going to become the Cleveland Guardians, which, by the way, the Guardians, from my research, is a certain bridge in Cleveland where they've got these traffic guardians, these big-ass... Yeah. It does look cool as shit, so I'll give it a pass.
But it's just not...
If the Chicago Blackhawks change their name in the NHL, I'm done. I'm just done with sports.
What about the Atlanta Braves?
They ain't going to change their name.
Well, I would hope
They've
not.
got the greatest, chant thing in baseball. That's the greatest chant. And it transcends more than just baseball. It's all sports. They do it.
Yeah, the whole crowd's got their arms chopping.
They're doing it in a football game. The Chiefs, the Kansas City Chiefs do it too. It started with the Braves, I thought. I don't know. I could be wrong. But anyways, the Twins finished 95 and 67 that year, first in the AL West, which represented a turnaround from 1990 when they finished last in the division, 74 and 88. They were the first team to go from last in place to a World Series championship since the Colonels I just talked about. Right. Them and the Atlanta Braves were the first team to go from last place to a pennant. And then, of course, which as we're going to get to, they Twins defeat the Braves in 7 games in a series which has been considered to be one of the top 3 World Series ever played. So how we kind of got there was a huge changing of the guard, a reshaping, a clean out of the front office and the roster in January, February 1991, beginning when third baseman Gary Giddy left as a free agent and signed with the Angels. Less than 12 hours after his departure, they signed free agent Mike Pagliaro from the Yankees. And what position did he play?
Third base.
That's one of the more underrated third basemen in baseball history. 2 more key free agent signings followed in the coming weeks with designated hitter Chili
Davis.
We talked about him at length earlier. Oh, yeah. Chili Davis signed on January 30th, and St. Paul, Minnesota native Jack Morris signed on February 5th. And going back in time a little bit, in July 1989, a blockbuster trade sent the 88 AL Cy Young Award winner Frank
Viola.
There you go. Look at the big brain on Kurt. Frank Viola to the Mets in exchange for relief pitchers David West, Rick Aguilera, and starter Kevin Tappiani. I call him Tappiani. I don't know.
Yeah.
And that proved to be a big part of the 81. And what do we always say? What gets me excited and you excited? Good pitching.
Good pitching, yes.
Hell of a rotation.
At the time, there were only 7 players still on the roster from the '87 World Series. None of them were pitchers. It was Randy Bush, Greg Gagne, Dan Gladden, Kent
Herbeck,
Gene Larkin.
Kirby
Puckett. By the way, me and Kurt talk sports at work all day long. That's kind of how we decided to come up with the podcast. Kurt, tell everybody who one of my favorite players as a kid was.
Kirby Puckett.
Who was my baseball mitt when I was a little leaguer? Kirby Puckett. God, I love Kirby Puckett.
Oh, dude, he could rake.
Oh, I forgot. We skipped over Al Newman. I forgot about him. He was still up. But so they had a good solid foundation. Guys coming in, young stars were started to blossom. Shane Mack in right field, Scott Erickson, who was a 20-game winner with a 12-game win streak, AL Rookie of the Year, second baseman Chuck
Knobloch.
They estimated that in 1991, Twins baseball was so good over 2.25, almost 2.5 million fans attended Twins home games that season. They moved aggressively in free agency prior to the 91 season. Like I said, they signed Chili Davis, and Chili rewarded them at the time with a 3.385 on base percentage, 29 home runs, 93 RBIs. Can't win if you don't have an RBI.
That's right. Yeah.
I know some people actually have the nerve to say RBIs are useless stats. Not me.
No.
If you're a baseball purist, no. But you know what I'm talking about. Some people think that's a useless stat. It is not.
That's a very important stat.
But to me, because this is my and Kurt's show, and me and Kurt are more pitchers than we are batters.
Defensive pitchers, yeah, for sure.
To me, their biggest free agent splash was Morris coming on. Who, by the way, do you know what team Morris was an ace on before he got
Tigers?
Detroit Tigers.
Yeah, he won a championship there, didn't
1984,
yeah.
I do believe.
Yeah.
84. That's right there, 84.
Yeah, Kirk Gibson was on that team too. Dale Evans.
He had a reputation as a big game pitcher.
Yeah. Nasty forkball.
His main attribute in the regular season was that he was a workhorse. 35 starts, 18-12 record. ERA was 3.43. To me, and I've always said this to you, if your ERA is under 5,
and
I think it's pretty good.
Especially being in the American League with the designated hitter, there wasn't that guaranteed out in the lineup.
We are going to do an episode on DHs at some point, because me and you talk about this personally off the mic at work. Should there be a DH or not? Because the AL's the only league that uses the DH.
I know where I vote, but
tell the listeners where you vote.
No DH.
No DH.
No DH.
Pitchers bat.
If you play the field, you bat. So, I mean that's the way.
You know why I think they're still in a DH? Because you can put a home run slugger in there. People like to see the long ball.
They do. Right.
People don't like defensive battles in football. They don't like defensive battles in baseball.
Boring, you say.
Yeah, boring. Yeah. To me, I get excited.
There's a lot of things going on in a 1-0 game.
That's right. But anyway, his ERA was 3.43, and to me, I've always said if your ERA's 5 or under,
that's pretty solid that's
a good day at the office.
Yes, absolutely.
So, anyways, Kevin Tappiani and Scott Erickson were a little bit better, though. That's the funny part. Tappiani won 16 games with a 2.99 ERA. Erickson was a 20-game winner with a 3.18 ERA.
One of the best 12-6 curveballs I think I've ever seen. Pretty good curveball.
If you had to pick one, what is your favorite pitch?
My favorite pitch?
Yeah.
Fastball.
Just a 2-seam fastball?
2-seam, well, 4-seam or 2-seam. The 2-seam, you get a little sinking and tailing action on it if it's done right. The 4-seam, they say, actually might even rise a little bit.
Now, what's your favorite showboat pitch?
Showboat pitch?
Yeah.
Screwball.
I like a curveball. That's my go-to pitch. But if we're talking showboat pitch, and every year on EA Sports, MLB, I always threw the eephus.
Eephus?
Because it's the fucking breaking ball. Like, when's the last time you seen guys throw an eephus pitch? You don't see it very often. And some of them got, and I'm shitting you not, for those people listening, a few listeners that might not know baseball as well as Kurt and I do, Get on YouTube and just look up an EFUS pitch.
Yeah, EUP,
HUES or something like that.
Yeah.
An EFUS pitch. You know, some of them son of bitches get 36 inches of breaks on them. Of course, you know, as you know from creative player and you're in
Right.
an NBA, you always put yourself at a 99 overall.
Right.
So, of course, I'm on the mound wearing my number 19. Every sports game I get, number 19. Respect, because Peyton wore 18 and number 19 because the greatest quarterback to ever play the game was Johnny fucking Unitas. So it don't matter what game I'm playing, I always wear 19 on my jersey. Up there on the mound, throwing an EFUS pitch, and I'm getting 38 inches of break by the time it hits the catcher's glove. And these batters on these games like A-Rod and...
they struggle, don't they?
Yeah, oh man, they swing at a pitch that...
It'd be hard to be patient. Holy crap. You know, you go from 90 mile an hour to something.
So it's like their EFUS pitches come in at somewhere between 30 to 50
yeah.
and 36, 38 inches of break.
I also got a thing for the knuckleballer, too.
R.A. Dickey. R.A. Dickey revitalized his career in 2012.
Phil Necro, Joe Necro brothers. I think there's another guy. It wasn't Whitey Ford.
No, I think Whitey threw a knuckleball.
It might be Whitey Ford.
I think Whitey did throw a knuckleball. Boy, you're going old school there.
The Boston guy.
Oh, what's his face?
Yeah, I can't think of it.
Anyways, okay. So, do you know who the closer was that year?
For
The Twins.
Aguilera. Yeah.
Saved 42 games. Tell everybody what a save is. For the few people that listen that might not do our baseball, because some of the people don't do a lot of baseball with us.
Well,
what is essentially a save?
A definition of a save.
Just layman's terms.
Layman's terms, it's getting the last 3 outs.
So you save the game for your team.
It's to save the game for your team if you're up by 3 runs. And less, I think. Or is it 4 runs now?
I think it's still 3.
Still 3 runs.
Maybe.
It don't qualify as a save if you're ahead 4 runs. You come and get the final 3 outs.
And if you have 42 games saved in the regular season, that's a good day at the office.
That's a damn good day at the office.
That should have been one I put in the opening because that's a good day at the office.
Yes.
Do you know? Would you like to know what Aguilera's ERA was for that 42 save season?
I'm guessing it was under 2.
No, it was 2. It wasn't under. It was 2.35.
That's pretty damn good.
Carl Willis was a future pitching coach. Was a solid setup man for Aguilera. And you know what his ERA was? 2.5.
That's pretty good.
The pitching staff was very top heavy and depended on their 3 core starters, which was Morris, Tapiani, and Erickson. But they were good enough to be second. But they were good enough to be second in ERA in the American League. And I put that in there, and I don't think I followed it up with who was better.
Well,
and let me look at my notes. Let me scoot in closer here.
Maybe who they beat in the ALCS.
I don't have it in there, or at least not in this report. But anyway, offense wasn't bad either. They ranked 4th in runs scored. They led the league in batting average and on-base percentage. Chuck Knobloch, your guy, Rookie of the Year, 351 OBP. And he was one of the faster guys.
Yeah,
he sparked the offense.
Old school baseball player, no batting gloves.
He was a young kid. Yeah,
no batting, just tough nosed kid.
Puckett, Herbeck, Shane Mack, and Harper could both get on base. Larkin, 361 OBP coming off the bench. There was nothing early in the season in 91 to make you kind of think that the Twins were going to be in the World Series. As Memorial Day weekend arrived 3 months into the season, they were playing sub 500 baseball at the time. So, and at that time, before the division and league realignments that took place later in the 90s and the early 2000s, and the AL West at the time was pretty competitive. The Rangers were out in front. The Oakland A's were pretty hot on their heels. The Twins were 6th. Here, I put this in my notes right here. Copy and pasted. Shout out Bleacher Report for this copy and paste right here. Prior to 1994, the AL West also included the Royals, Mariners, Angels, and White Sox, with the winner advancing directly to the ALCS.
But Memorial Day was when things kind of started to turn around for him, Kurt. They opened a 3-game set in Texas by losing to 11 runs to 4. It was at this point the Twins turned it around, and that's when they started to become the team that we remember. Erickson took the ball Tuesday night, fired 8 shutout innings in a 3-0 win. And then in the Wednesday hitting finale, and I'm going to use a term here, and I want you to tell me if I'm right. Shortstop Greg Gagne, light hitting.
Yes. Yeah.
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 Great driving balls, just to borrow the phrase that you used in the last word. He drove the ball up in
the gaps or alleys.
The alleys,
yes.
Yeah. He took Nolan Ryan deep in that game.
Yeah. Yeah.
He drove in 4 runs.
No more for his defense. He was, of course, that's what you want up the middle there. But
he was a light hitter.
Yes, for sure.
Dude, I love talking baseball with you.
Oh, they do.
I could not fucking do this show without you. I don't care. I'll be an idiot talking into a mic. At least this time, I'm not the only idiot talking into a mic. You know. Kurt's like, hit the laugh track.
That's right.
Okay. The series win in Texas set the stage for June, where they won 22 of 28 games and would not only move into first place, but they would lead by as many as 4.5 fucking games by the end of June. Then they kind of hit the skids right before the All-Star break, and we're back to a dead even tie with the Rangers, but they had momentum going. I put in my notes here at that time, coming out of the All-Star break there, Texas lost 8 of 11 games to start the second half of the season, faded quickly. The A's and the Athletics stayed on Minnesota's heels. And then the first weekend of August, the Twins played a couple of key series with the A's, who, for those of you that don't remember, and I was a little feller, at this time in the late 80s, early 90s, the AL West was pretty much the A's division.
Yes.
Because of the Bash
brothers.
Jose Canseco, God I love, and
Mark
who?
McGwire.
Mark McGwire.
They had the gauntlet of players in it. Ricky Henderson, Dave Henderson.
I got some Ricky Henderson information in my notes here. Because if you remember, I told you I kind of covered what was also going on in baseball at that time.
Right.
Ricky Henderson's got some notable news coming up later.
Oh, yeah. Great ball player.
Great ball player.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that was kind of the A's division for a long time. Oakland was 3 games off pace. Chicago was 2 games out at the time. Jack Morris took the mound in Friday night's opener, but the Twins offense couldn't get anything going against the reigning Cy Young Award winner the season before, Bob. Oh, you're drawing blank.
Yeah, drawing a blank.
Bob Welch.
Bob Welch, former Dodger.
The following
I should have known that. Damn it.
The following afternoon, Minnesota got into a 5-0 hole. If you peeked ahead, looking ahead to Sunday, Oakland had their clutch ace, Dave Stewart, waiting. The race was ready to get even tighter. It was time for another reversal of fortune. Harper hit a 3-run homer, keyed a stunning 7-game rally that gave Minnesota the victory. And then they came out the next day and jumped Stewart for 3 runs in the first inning and got some clutch relief work from Willis. And then they took the series with a 6-2 win. 2 weeks later, it was the A's and Twins at the Metrodome. Oakland was 5 games out, fighting to hold on, while Chicago was still 2.5 games back. Do you appreciate all this research?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because it takes a while to look, to Google. Some of it's copy and paste. Some of it's my notes, because I don't want to be completely copy and paste.
The backbone of the cast, dude. I mean, totally.
We've kind of divvied up a certain job here at the podcast. I put Dole, who will be our third anchor, eventually when I get his mic set up and everything. Dole kind of helps promote the podcast a little bit. I do a lot of promotion. I do most of the research because I'm a stat nerd geek. I give Kurt a very simple job. What is your job?
I just sit here.
Come on now. No. What's your job for the podcast? Film study.
Yeah. Yep.
Kurt does a lot. Kurt actually does a little bit of reading. I mean, he reads at the second grade level.
But I give Kurt the job of film study because that's what he gets most passionate about. And if I can get Kurt to watch film, I can figure in the notes, and then we're golden.
Right.
But so it takes a lot to go through and recap an entire season.
And 30 years ago,
yeah.
I mean, I had to go back and watch a few of the games myself. And I had seen these games live already, but 30 years ago.
30 years, you had been 20 years old.
Been 20 years old.
Married already.
Had a kid already.
Have your oldest one?
Yeah, worked 7 days a week.
Coal mine.
Yep. 12-hour shifts.
I don't miss those down at Wapaka, I tell you. Anyway, so they're in the Metrodome. Friday night's opener was a 2-2 tie in the ninth with A's left fielder Jose Canseco. I love Jose Canseco. He hit a 2-run blast. Oakland turned the game over to Hall of Famer closer
Eckersley.
Dennis
Eckersley. Yeah.
What do we remember from our last episode about Dennis Eckersley?
Well, he gave up that big 2-run home.
Well, it wasn't in our. It was in our. Yep.
Yeah.
To Kirk Gibson.
Yeah. Shocked the world, man.
Minnesota scrapped out 2 runs to tie the game and won it in 12 innings when Rookie of the Year Chuck Knobloch doubled and scored. So then we had a Morris Welch rematch on Saturday, and it didn't start out well as Morris gave up 3 scores in the first inning. Welch kind of fell apart though. Knobloch had 3 hits. Harper drove in 4 runs, and the result was a 12-4 fucking rout. Yeah. Then on Sunday, the Twins trailed 4-1 against Stewart when they unleashed a hellacious comeback. They get 2 in the 7th, and Oakland went to the bullpen. In the 8th, Harper tripled, started a 3-run rally that led to a 6-4 victory. Minnesota lost Monday's finale, but even in the defeat, they showed how hard they were going to be to kill, basically. After trailing 6-0, they made a furious rally before coming up short 8-7. So, the Oakland dynasty at this point, that was started in the mid to late 80s to the early, that was pretty much all but done for. So Chicago was still within 3.5 games, and it was they gave the impression we were going to have a hot race to the finish here. But now it was time for the White Sox to fall apart too. In a schedule against a bunch of mediocre teams, they lost 9 straight games.
Ouch. And
by the time we get to the 1st of September, last month of the season, Minnesota Twins had an 8-game victory. So in the final month, they pretty much was in the driver's seat. They put their foot on their gas and never looked back. Let me see if I got anything here about the final season. If I need anything in here. Here's something of interest. Morris threw a complete 6-game hitter, and the 5-0 win ensured at least a tie in Toronto. The Twins lost on Sunday thanks to a 26-year-old Seattle Mariners lefty named Randy
Johnson.
The big unit.
Wow.
We talk about pitchers a lot. Who's one of my go-to?
Randy Johnson.
I usually say Saberhagen first.
Yeah.
And then I follow it up with Randy Johnson.
Oh, scary.
You know what my favorite Randy Johnson memory is, and I know you know what I'm thinking. The bird.
Oh, yeah?
The bird.
Yeah.
He hit that fucking bird and it exploded. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like just...
Yeah.
You guys,
it's crazy.
For all you people out there that are not sensitive about animals dying,
check it out.
Get on YouTube. Randy Johnson, the big unit, is one of the hardest throwing pitchers in baseball history. I was such a fan of his when I was a kid. And I don't remember how old I was. I'm pretty sure I've seen it happen, not live, but in highlights within days. Yeah. I can't remember the year, but get on there and just Google Randy Johnson bird. He's unleashes this hellacious ball off the mound, and a bird flies right, and all you see is feathers. Like the bird, it killed the bird like
instantly.
You just see a cloud of feathers.
Yeah.
Guarantee you that pitch was coming in at over 100 mile an hour. That was probably going to hit 105, 101 on the gun, something like that.
He's moving on.
But anyways,
poor bird. I mean, he's at the wrong place, the wrong time.
Minnesota was close to pouring champagne with about a full week to go, though. It was no coincidence. Minnesota was successful in the 4-year cycle from 87 to 91. home field advantage for the postseason in this era was determined by a rotation system. In both 87 and 91, the AL West had home field in both the LCS and the World Series. Note, though, in fairness, that while the 87 Twins were a big beneficiary of this home field advantage, the 1991 Minnesota Twins had a superior regular season record to both teams they faced in October. And they really didn't need home field to win the ALCS against Toronto. The team split the first 2 games in the Metrodome. It was when the series shifted to Canada that the Twins really took over, though. They won all 3 games in Toronto, including a big late rally to win Game 5 and clinch the pennant. Home field advantage, though, I do believe was a pretty big factor in the World Series with the Braves. Something I want you to think about here, and I think you know where I'm going with this. I told you this at work. This World Series, the home team won every game.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Minnesota was down 3-2 in games when they came home for Game 6, but the closing 2 games on Saturday and Sunday would be as memorable as any finish the World Series has ever seen, which is partially the reason this ranks so high. So yeah, there's the recap here for the 91
Minnesota
AL champion Minnesota Twins. So now let's talk about my league.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah, because I'm Philadelphia Phillies. I'm an NL League guy. We don't need a DH in our league.
That's right.
Pitcher's bad.
Yes.
So the 1991 NL champion Atlanta Braves had a last place finish in 1990, but managed to overtake the Los Angeles Dodgers for first place in the National League West, clinching the division on the next to last day of the regular season.
I remember that.
Remember that?
Yes.
20-year-old kid. Bleed Dodger blue.
Yeah.
This division title in 1991 would be the first of 14 years of straight division titles by the Braves, which lasted until 2005.
Impressive.
That is, Kurt just leaned up and he's like, yep.
Yeah, impressive. Yeah.
One of these days, man, we're going to start videoing these podcasts, putting them on YouTube. The 91 Braves were a franchise at the time, didn't really have an identity. They lost. They hadn't been relevant since Joe. Remember who the manager was?
Torre.
Joe Torre. That's right. He managed the club until the early 80s. They reached the NLCS in 82 and contending till the final weekend of 83. But the back half of the 80s and the first year of the 90s was pretty different. The Braves lost 106 games in 88 and 97 games in each of the next 2 years. And then midway through the 1990 season, which was the terrible season, Bobby Cox came on as manager, skipper. Cox had a track record of being able to turn franchises around. The Toronto Blue Jays in 85 were an expansion team. And he took, not in 85. He took them from an expansion team that won the AL East and then in 85. Which gave people in Atlanta some high hopes there that he could deliver something. I don't think anybody could have seen this coming. If I wouldn't have researched this, then I would have watched this in real time. I don't think I would have seen it coming either. Or see it happen in the first year. Atlanta would become renowned for its great starting pitching throughout the 90s and 2000s. And we can attest to this because we talk about that 90s. And shout out to the top supervisor. The top supervisor who said some of the best pitching he ever seen was the 90s Braves, which we talk about. You got Glavine, Smoltz, and Maddox.
Steve Avery.
And Avery. So here's what let's just jump into this. That all started in 91. A 25-year-old lefty named Tom Glavine won 20 games with a 2.55 ERA. He won the Cy Young Award, and that pretty much kicked off what was going to be a Hall of Fame career.
Yeah.
Another man on his way to Cooperstown at the time was 24-year-old... Well, I just kicked the whole fucking mic. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
I lost my place. 24-year-old John Smoltz, 36 starts, won 14 games, and posted a 3.80 ERA.
Fierce competitor on a mound. He was...
Steve Avery, not the Steve Avery from Making a Murderer. Little inside joke. Free Stephen Avery. He's innocent. Probably shouldn't say that. People might not like that. Maybe we edit it out. Maybe we leave it. Anyway, Steve Avery was another southpaw. He didn't necessarily have a Hall of Fame career, but in 91, he was pretty much
solid.
He was solid, good as anybody. He had 18 wins, 3.38 ERA. And then they brought in a veteran with some World Series experience, and I'm laughing. I'm so excited to do this. They brought in Charlie
Leibrandt.
We did that. Anybody that's just now catching on, when we did the 85 World Series, every time I talked about Charlie Leibrandt, I would look at Kurt and go, Charlie
Leibrandt.
And we laughed about it for weeks. I could have just specifically done this just so you could do the Charlie Leibrandt. But he brought experience.
Yes.
He'd won the World Series, 6 years prior or whatever, with Kansas City. So,
a good fit. The rotation.
Leibrandt won 15 games, had a 3.43 ERA, so he's still dominant.
Yeah.
The bullpen, though, didn't have some of the names that would jump out you. You had Mike Stanton, Kent Merker, and I can't even pronounce this guy's name, and I don't even remember hearing it on all the game study I watched this week, but his name was Juan Berengauer? Berengauer. I think, or Berengara, something like that, yeah. They all had sub-3 ERAs, and Bobby Cox knew how to use them each to their advantage. They rounded out as a staff that finished third in the NL and the ERA, so,
not bad.
Twins finished second in ERA and the AL. Offensively, though, Atlanta was better. They finished second in the NL in runs scored. And one of the guys that I talk about a lot when we talk about that 90s Brave team, which people, you got to understand how much we talk baseball at work. We talk sports all day long, especially now more since we got a podcast. But one of the guys that we mention quite a lot, Mr. Terry
Pendleton.
He was brought in from St. Louis. He won the MVP. His final numbers was a 363 OBP and a 511 slugging percentage. And they were good, although MVP was probably reaching just a little bit. He was given credit, though, for providing leadership to the young players around him. There were some big-time producers in the outfield. Ron Gann hit 32 home runs, drove in 105 runs, scored 101 more. David Justice, which you talked about earlier tonight for you.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you said. I was sitting on your couch. He could rake.
Yeah, good hitter.
His stat line was 377 and 503. Lonnie
Smith,
a veteran from St. Louis and Kansas City.
Yeah.
He played left field. He had a 377 OBP. Jeff, you remember who Jeff Friedway?
Who?
Jeff Friedway?
I don't.
Fredway?
For some reason I don't.
I don't know. That's one I don't remember either. He hit 320, provided some pop at second base.
Oh, it was Mark Lemke. Played second.
He might have been. They might have had a tandem system.
Oh, platooning there.
Yeah, platoon. That's the word. Tandem backfield and football. Right. Platoon in baseball. Right. Damn it! I knew that. I feel stupid. Good thing we are stupid. Nobody will know a difference. Atlanta looked better out of the gate than initially what Minnesota did to start the 91 season, but nothing suggested that we were really going to have a historic season. They were 20-19 at Memorial Day weekend and 2.5 games back of the LA Dodgers in the old NL West, which at that time the division was home to... Do you know? You want me to tell you?
Yeah, go ahead.
The old NL West at that time was home to the Atlanta Braves, the Dodgers, Cincinnati Reds, San Francisco Giants,
Houston,
San Diego Padres, and Jeff Bagwell and the
Houston Astros.
I love Bagwell.
Oh, yeah. Killer
We've
bees.
talked about him before.
Yeah.
Somewhere I still got his rookie card.
Hang on to that. For sure.
We ought to do an episode on sports cards. That's kind of a dead thing nowadays, but you still find some hardcore people.
Yeah, there's a few hardcore people out there.
But anyways, and like this, like baseball was at the time, the winner went directly to the NLCS. So they continued to kind of just dilly-dally around to the All-Star break. At 39-40, they were hanging around the 500 mark, and that would be considered a success for this club given what they had before. If they could just make it. The Braves lost 5 of 7 games to the Dodgers prior to the All-Star break. Atlanta was 9.5 back in third place, trailing the defending World Series champion. Who won the World Series in '90? Do you remember?
Cincinnati Reds.
Cincinnati Reds. Who'd they play?
Yeah, Oakland A's. Swept them.
They did. Oh no, Kurt! I scrolled too far. Kurt always like technical difficulties. Yeah, there you go.
Stand by.
But after the All-Star break, things kind of turned around. Braves won 8-10 against the Cubs and Cardinals, while the Dodgers lost 9 of 11 on an East Coast trip. That hurt you, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
That hurt you.
For sure.
When
I can kind of remember that year. I was thinking, the Dodgers are doing pretty good, It's looking pretty good. All of a sudden,
East Coast trip.
Yeah.
That, some people underestimate that, not just in baseball, but any sport. You take a West Coast team 3 hours behind on West Coast time, and they make a trip for multiple days where they're just staying out on the... That fucks with them.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I have to. Absolutely.
I believe it's sports is psychological.
Yeah.
That shit, a time change.
Yeah.
Anyways, when Labor Day arrived, the Braves and Dodgers were in a dead heat, with the Reds pretty much pissed the bed. Dodgers started to play better in the early part of September. Atlanta kept rolling. September 13th, the two teams began the first of what would be a 2 straight weekend series, and the Braves were a half game in front of your Dodgers. Atlanta was at home for the first series. Glavine on the mound pitched well. Game was tied 2-2 in the 7th, but the Braves ace faltered, ultimately losing 5-2. Smoltz came out on Saturday, gave up a couple of early runs, but he settled in and allowed no more to score. So, okay, we're back. Beauty of the pause button, man. We just devoured some Taco Bell.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Hey, no problem.
Hit the spot.
So, we left off talking about Smoltz. He came out that Saturday, gave up a couple early runs, then he kind of got settled. Didn't allow any more runs after that. In the game went to extra innings. They were tied 2-2 in the 11th. Pendleton hit a double, scored the winning run on a base hit from Grant. Avery pitched the Sunday finale against Ramon Martinez, brother of Hall of Famer
Pedro.
Philadelphia Phillies, among other teams.
Pedro Martinez.
Yep. Braves first baseman Sid Bream hit a grand slam in the first inning. Avery went the distance, and Atlanta's lead had nudged out to a game and a half. Perhaps the young kids celebrated a bit early because the 4 days between the next head-to-head in LA didn't go as well. They split 4 games with mediocre teams in San Francisco and San Diego. Then LA ripped off 4 wins over Cincinnati and Houston. The Braves were now a half game back as the weekend at Dodger Stadium started. Avery took the ball Friday night, picked up where he left off with a complete game shutout. Gant's 30th home run of the season provided the
the 3-0 win.
Lee Brandt
pitched on Saturday and took a 1-0 lead into the 8th. With control of the race, just like right there, Atlanta shit the bed. Pendleton committed an error that led to the tying run in the 8th, and Los Angeles won it in the 9th. A series defined by good pitching continued into Sunday's big finale. Glavine again pitched pretty well, but wasn't good enough. He gave up 2 early runs, and the Braves hitters couldn't hit on Ramon Martinez. The 3-0 loss left them 1.5 games back with 2 weeks to play in the regular season. The two teams basically held serve the following week, but there was an important distraction. Atlanta played 1 game more than Los Angeles and took advantage to take a half game off the lead, should say. The Braves were within 1 game the last week of the season. Smoltz opened the closing week with a shutout of Cincinnati, while the Dodgers and Oral fucking
Hershiser
answered with a win for the Dodgers over San Diego. And then on Tuesday, it was Justice's turn to play hero again, as he hit a 2-run shot in the 9th inning off the Reds reliever Rob Dibble.
Part of the Nasty Boys, wasn't he?
Rob Dibble. I think he was part of the Nasty Boys squad.
Charlton.
That delivered a 7-6 victory. It set the stage for Wednesday when Glavine would win, while the Dodgers fell apart in a 9-4 loss. Both teams took Thursday off, prepared for the final weekend, dead even heat. Friday night momentum going Atlanta's way. Avery went 8 innings in a home win over Houston. Dodgers lost against San Francisco. Smoltz came out the next day on Saturday, pitched a shutout that clinched at least a season series tie and a potential playoff game on Monday. That would prove to ultimately not be necessary, as the Dodgers again lost in San Francisco, and the improbable worst to first ride of the 1991 Atlanta Braves was completed. Atlanta went to the NLCS against the Pittsburgh Pirates as a notable underdog, surprising underdog. Things didn't look that great early on. Avery and Smoltz responded with consecutive shutouts of a lineup that included Barry Bonds,
Bobby Bonilla.
You know what my favorite Bobby Bonilla story is? I forget what day of the year it is, but every day until 2035, since like 2000, whatever it was, the Mets have to pay him like $1.8 million. That was like such a bad signing. Yeah. Anyways,
he flopped there too.
Yeah.
Time.
The Fall Classic was a celebration of worst the first turnarounds, because the AL champion and the NL champion basically have done the same thing. Both go worst to first. The 1991 World Series is in discussion for best ever played by some, as it comes down to Game 7 in the old Metrodome. Let me see, do I got anything else of note here before we move on? No. I just put this was the first of 14 straight division titles for the franchise.
Impressive.
Yeah, and okay, so where are we at? 58 minutes on the recorder. Let's do this. Okay, Kurt, let's plug another official sponsor. Main Street Designs LLC in Jasper. They've offered to make us a logo. I need to get in touch with them. It's a small family-owned business. They specialize in laser engraving, direct-to-garment printing. They make vinyl decals, baby blankets, all sorts of personalized stuff for you or your business. They will make us some shirts eventually.
The review on these guys are pretty good.
Yeah,
they're good.
They're gonna need a circus tent to make my shirt, but anyways, give them a call. Message them on Facebook, Main Street Designs LLC in Jasper. Give them a call, 812-661-7765 or 812-661-7488. Like I said, they got a whole bunch of stuff up on their Facebook page, and it's impressive.
Need to check them guys out. So, how you like that funky music?
I like it funky bass.
Okay, so we're almost to meat and taters.
Yeah,
I should have put that in the opening too, meat and taters, because we say that every.
I like meat and taters.
I eat anything that don't eat me first.
That's right.
So, I'm gonna fire me up a Lucky Strike. I ought to fucking get a hold of Philip Morris Tobacco Company, or it's RJ Reynolds, because I guess Lucky Strikes are my brand now. At $5.01 a pack, I can't really argue with it.
Are they full flavored?
Oh, they're heavies, dude. I did the whole Marlboro Light thing for years. My dad always had, when I started smoking, and I'm not gonna lie about this, I stole cigarettes from my dad. Back then my dad used to buy cartons of Marlboro Reds. He smoked Marlboro Reds. He smoked soft packs because he had the metal case to fit in his shirt pocket so they wouldn't crush.
Yeah.
So back then he'd buy cartons and he'd stick them in the freezer. So, and this was before my dad was a drinker, which he kind of is now. But it would be hard, but eventually, over time, I could make one pack disappear like every 6 months. I'd have to make them last. But when I had the choice, I'd buy Marlboro Lights. And then I was at cigarettes one day, and my dad, who said he would never ever pick me up cigarettes or nothing, I was like 21, maybe 22. Give me a pack of Reds. And I took a hit, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Because they were heavies, you know? And then, so for the last 14 years, I've been smoking heavies, which any cigarette's bad for you, but heavies are real bad. But, anyways.
Meat and taters.
Almost.
Almost.
What would you call not meat and taters? You'd call them, like, pre-cooked meat and taters. Yeah. Appetizer.
There you go.
Would you like some notes and a few things about professional baseball itself in the year of 1991?
Yeah, absolutely.
I have some important shit I would like to I think I told you I was going to do this at work, and you were like, well, it kind of sets the tone for stuff.
It does, yes.
Okay. January 7th, 1991, Pete Rose is released from the Marion Federal Penitentiary. 5-month sentence for tax evasion. January 30th, the Atlanta Braves signed a guy to their roster who is my all-time favorite NFL player, Deion Sanders, making him a two-sport athlete. Fun fact, to the best of my knowledge, Deion Sanders is the only athlete to ever play in both a Super Bowl and a World Series.
Impressive.
Deion, dude, you can ask anybody that knows me. Deion's primetime. Neon Deion. The reason the number 21 is so important to defensive backs because
hard
of
to
Deion.
believe he come up with Falcon. That's where he come.
Atlanta Falcon.
Atlanta Falcon.
Then he went and won a championship with
the Cowboys.
No. Went and won a championship 1 year stint, 94. 49ers,
okay.
Steve Young.
Yeah, okay.
Then he went to Dallas, got his ring there because Dallas won in 92, 93, 95.
They beat Pittsburgh in 95. Huh?
Did a brief stint with the Redskins, and then semi-retired, came back out of retirement, went to play for the Baltimore Ravens, wore number 38 because he was 38 years old at the time.
He won a championship there? No.
I think he did. I think he was Ravens won the championship in 2000. I don't know if he was on that team or not. We'll talk about that down the road. February 4th. This one's important. February 4th, 91. The board of directors in the Hall of Fame vote unanimously to ban Pete Rose from the ballot.
Boo.
He will only become eligible again if the MLB commissioner reinstates him by December of 2005.
Boo.
Yeah. There is a Pete Rose for the Hall of Fame episode. That's in the list. Okay, February 28th. Players win 7 of 17 arbitration cases. Pittsburgh Pirate pitcher Dave Drabeck received a record $3.35 million, the biggest arbitration victory, which that's about $6.5–7 million in today's money. March 18th, Bo Jackson released by the Kansas City Royals. March 28th, Fernando
Valenzuela
released by the Dodgers. These are all important.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm gonna run through all these if you're cool with it.
Yeah, that's cool. absolutely.
May 1st, 91, Nolan Ryan of the Texas Rangers recorded his 7th no-hitter, striking out Roberto Alomar for the final victory. Ricky Henderson of the Oakland Athletics, here's your news, records his 939th stolen base, breaking whose record?
Lou Brock?
Lou Brock. Damn, look at the big brain on Kurt.
Yeah.
July 6th, the National League announces 2 expansion franchises for 93. Florida Marlins and the... Ooh, you know this.
Yeah.
Denver.
Colorado Rockies.
Colorado Rockies.
Yeah.
This next one's kind of sad, but we circle back around to it in Game 1 of the World Series. July 7th of 91, outside a restaurant in Arlington, Texas, AL League umpire Steve Palermo is shot and paralyzed from the waist down after trying to stop a woman from being mugged. They later caught the guy, sentenced him to 75 years in the pen. So, what else kind of news I got? July 31st, 2 sports star Deion Sanders helped the Braves win a 6-2 deficit with a 3-run homer. And then the next day, he reported to Atlanta Falcons training camp. Here's another big one for the year. August 14th, Dave Winfield hits his 400th career home run. He was only the 23rd player in Major League history to accomplish that feat.
Pretty impressive.
Pretty impressive. Dave Winfield.
I like Dave Winfield.
I don't know anybody that says a bad word about Dave Winfield.
Good ball player.
This one is kind of it's not a long read, but I'm not going to talk this one. I'm going to read this one. I ripped this directly from, I don't remember where the fuck I ripped it from, but it's a direct copy and paste. And I put this in here because it's September. This is the last bit of news for the year. They had a couple others after the season, but this was the last thing I put in there. September 4th of 1991, the MLB removed an asterisk, which is never universally recognized. The Statistical Accuracy Committee decided to put Roger Maris's 61 home run season in 1961 ahead of Babe Ruth's 60 mark in 1927. Regarding the removal of the asterisk, the MLB later pointed out it is an easy job and the asterisk never existed. Maris' record from 62 until 91 is listed separately from Babe Ruth's and is never actually defined. The 8-man panel also redefined what a no-hit game as one in which ends after 9 or more innings with one team failing to get a hit, thereby removing 50 games from the list that had previously considered hitless, including Harvey Haddock's impressive 1959 performance. And then there's a whole bunch of other stuff, and then we'll just skip that, and then I'll get down to this. Another casualty of this is Boston Red Sox reliever Ernie Shore's 27th straight outs on June 23rd, 1917, in a game in which he relieved Babe Ruth after Ruth was ejected for punching an umpire in the face for protesting a walk. Babe Ruth punched an umpire in the face in 1917.
Oh, boy.
Okay, and then I got a little bit more series news, and this was impressive because me and you were talking about this at work Thursday. Cal Ripken Jr. had the best year of his career. He won the MVP for a terrible Baltimore team. Cecil Fielder was hot on his tail that year, by the way. What else I got about Cal Ripken? I had something else. Maybe it's down there somewhere else. But anyways, 91 season was impressive. They had an unusually high number of no-hitters. There were 7 no-hitters. The noteworthy ones, Wilson Alvarez threw one for the White Sox in the first start of his career. 262 future starts. He never threw another one. Dennis Martinez threw a perfect game. And Nolan Ryan threw his 7th. So, and right here, and the last thing before we get to some meat and taters, the biggest milestone of the 1991 season, undoubtedly, to me and you, Ricky Henderson
breaking Lou Brock's
Oh, yeah.
all-time stolen base record. This is pretty impressive because at the time Henderson was 30, maybe 31 years old, something like that. And in something kind of funny, Henderson had kind of declared himself the greatest with Brock standing right next to him, just being an ass.
Yeah.
Ricky would go on to steal 467 more bases, leading the league twice more, and play for 13 more seasons in the majors. They can laugh all they want about Henderson saying he's the best in front of the guy whose record he broke, but his record's still standing.
Yeah, speaks for itself.
So, okay, we're an hour and 10 minutes in. We're doing good on time. You want some meat and taters?
Oh, yeah. Me like some meat and taters.
Okay. So let me give you the rundown because you asked me. Here was the starting... Here's some stats and lineups for both teams before we go. Catcher was Brian Harper. These are regular season stats. He 137 hits, 10 home runs, 69 RBIs, 311 batting average.
Pretty good.
First baseman,
Ken Herbick.
131 hits, 284. Only 20 dingers. He knocked in 89 RBIs.
Did he have it? I don't think he played the whole year that year.
He played 132 games that season.
I thought he missed a few games.
Second base,
Chuck Knopfler.
Rookie of the Year, yeah. Batting 281. Only had one regular season dinger.
It would.
And he knocked in 50 RBIs, though.
Another great two-strike hitter.
I love when you say he was a great third baseman. Mike.
Pagliaro.
102 hits, 279, knocked in 36 RBIs, had 6 home runs. So, second base, Greg Gagne, 108. Or shortstop, my bad. I said second base. Shortstop. Batting 265, 8 home runs, 42 RBIs. Gladden, 114 hits, 247, 6 homers, 52. My man, Kirby Puckett, 195 hits, 319, knocked in 89 RBIs, went yard 15 times.
Yep.
And then Shane Mack, 137, batting 310, went yard 18 times, 74 RBIs. And then the DH,
Chili Davis,
148, batting 277, yard 29 times, 93 RBIs.
So he really didn't have it.
Yeah.
When is it?
Now, and then, I got a few bench stats here. I'm not gonna rattle out all of them, just the impressive ones. Scott, how did you say Scott's last name? Scott Leasis? Leasis.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. He knocked in several. He knocked in double-digit RBIs. Gene Larkin knocked in 19 RBIs, 2 homers, 286. So, there's the Ortiz, Paul Sorrento, Carmelo Castillo. Man, I don't care. Let's get to the pitching. Here's we go. So, Jack Morris was an 18-12 record, 343, 163 strikeouts, 246 innings.
That's a workhorse.
That's a
workhorse, yeah.
Tapiani, 244 innings, 16-9, 2.99 ERA, 135 set downs. Scott Erickson, 204 innings pitched. So these guys are all 20-8 winner, 3.18 ERA, 108 set downs. The rest of the 2 starters, Alan Anderson, David West, I ain't really concerned with that. We'll cover it. Looking at the bullpen, don't really. Aguilera, 42 saves, like we talked about, 2.35 ERA. Was 4-5 though.
Yeah.
61 strikeouts. Guthrie was 7-5, 2 saves, 4.32 ERA, 17 strikeouts, and then Willis, the other big one, he was 8-3, 2 saves, 2.63 ERA, 53 set downs. So, now for the Braves, I guess we'll go through their starting lineup real fast. Catcher was Greg Olson. Yeah. 46 runs scored. I don't know why I'm running runs. I didn't do runs with the other one. Fuck that. Anyways, 99 hits, 241 average, went yards 6 times, 44 RBIs. His first baseman, Sid Bream, yeah. An underrated guy, too.
Yeah, definitely. He started his career as a Pirate, didn't he?
It was either the Pirates or...
I was thinking it was the Pirates, but yeah, he was an underrated hitter, for sure.
Pirates or the Orioles? I'm pretty sure it was Pirates.
Had pretty decent pop in his bat.
Yes. Anyway, Sid, he batting 253, had 11 home runs, 45 RBIs. Second base, Jeff Treadway, 320. Only went yard 3 times that season. 32 RBIs he knocked in, though. And then the big boy, Terry Pendleton, had 187 sits that season. 187 hits. You know how many times he stepped up to the plate?
It was over 400, wasn't it?
586.
Wow.
I didn't include at-bats for anybody, but I had the at-bats for both teams listed.
He ended up batting over 300, right?
Yeah, 586 up to the plate appearances, 94 runs, 187 hits, averaging 319, 22 yard, 86 RBI, and he stole 10 bases.
That's
a good fucking season.
That's a breakout year for him, I think, basically.
Do you remember who their shortstop was? Raphael?
Belliard.
He was batting 249. He did not go yard, but he had 27 RBIs.
And just a defensive wizard. Yeah.
Lonnie Smith, 275. Went yard 7 times, 44 RBIs. And then this one's impressive. This one I highlighted because you talk about Ron Gann all the time.
Yeah.
So he stepped up to the plate 561 times. Okay? He stepped up to the plate. My notes cut off. He stepped up to the plate 561 times. He had 101 hits. 101 runs, 141 hits. Shows my notes around. Batting 251, went yard 32 times.
Yeah, impressive.
105 RBIs. Justice.
Great fastball hitter.
He was a great 2-seam fastball hitter.
He was. He did.
Justice was the right fielder. Justice. He's batting 275, went yard 21 times.
Was that rookie year, wasn't it?
I don't know. Maybe,
yeah.
Something else coming off the bench, Otis Nixon didn't go yard, but he drove in 26 RBIs and he stole 72 bases that season.
Yeah, I remember Otis Nixon.
Mark Lemke.
Yeah.
You was asking about him. 234 was his average. Went yard twice, 23 RBIs, 63 hits. Brian Hunter was just about the same. Hunter went yard 12 times, though. Had 50 RBIs. Let's go down to their pitching staff. Oh, just because Deion Sanders is my favorite player, and because you asked about Francisco Cabrera. Deion played 54 games, was up at the plate 110 times, scored 16 runs, had 21 hits, was only batting 191, but he went yard 4 times. Had 13 RBIs and 11 stolen bases. Francisco Cabrera, batting 242, 23 RBIs, 4 home runs. And their bench was deep.
Right.
Full of guys that was pretty serviceable. Avery, 18-8, 210 innings pitched, 3.38 ERA, 137 sit-downs. Glavin, 246 innings pitched, 20-11, 2.55 ERA, 192 sit-downs. Charlie
Leibrandt.
That might have been the only reason I've done this, just to keep it. Charlie
Leibrandt.
Charlie threw 229 innings. 15 and 13, though. 349, 129 strikeouts. John Smoltz, 229 innings. 14 and 13, 380 ERA. 148 strikeouts and 77 BB. Tell everybody what BB is.
Base on ball.
Base on ball. The only other one that I wrote in there was Armando. Remember Armando? Reynoso?
Reynoso? Okay. He's a right-hander?
He only played 6 games. He was 2-1. Highest ERA on the team, though, 6.17. Yeah. Do you remember who some of their closers were? Or setup man?
Would have been Kent Merker.
Kent Merker's on here. They're arguably they're Stanton and
Mike Stanton. Hard throwing left-hander.
Yeah, Stanton. They all got like 2 ERAs. Stanton, Juan, Berenguer.
Yeah.
Kent Marker, Martin Freeman. Nothing really to write home about. They're all throwing good. Oh. All right, that was a lot of information. So, meat and taters time. I had to stretch. I'm checking the recorder. We're all good. If this thing cuts off now, I'd be pissed. Okay. The outcome of many of these games was there was a lot of suspense.
Oh, yeah.
Most of these games, there was a lot of edge on your seat. The series deciding 7th game, which we'll get to, was scoreless through 9 innings. Okay? With 69 innings in total, the 91 World Series shares the record for the longest 7-game World Series ever in terms of innings. With 1924, with the 1924 World Series. Now, before we start, I have something I'm going to read just briefly about this to kind of set the tone. This was an article on ESPN.com released November 19th, 2003. So, you're looking at almost 18 years ago.
18 years, yeah.
This was written by Jim Capel. And he's talking about the 91 World Series because I really want to set the tone now that we're getting into meat and taters while we're covering this. So I'm going to read this if you're okay with it.
Yeah.
Jim Capel said, in the greatest World Series in history, a future Hall of Famer won Game 6 with an extra inning home run, and I'm not talking about Carlton Fisk. How good was the 1991 World Series? Kirby Puckett pumping his fist as he circled the base after his 11th inning home run off Charlie
Lee Brandt.
Was one of the greatest moments in World Series history, and it wasn't even the most memorable performance of this series. The most memorable performance of the 1991 World Series belongs to Jack Morris, who topped Puckett the next night by pitching a 10-inning 1-0 shutout to win Game 7 a couple miles from his boyhood home.
Wow.
Manager Tom Kelly planned to take Morris out after the 9th inning, only to have Morris say basically no.
Right.
And not in those words.
Coach. Yeah.
What the hell? Kelly looked at him and said, go ahead. It's only a game. We'll just try for Game 8 tomorrow night. He was wrong about that. This wasn't just a ball game. This was history. This was special. This was baseball at its most delicious best, capping off a series so good that it should have been played inside Cooperstown instead of inside the Metrodome. The 1975 World Series had the better cast with 4 future Hall of Famers: Johnny Bench, Joe Morgan, Tony Perez, and Carl
Yastrzemski,
plus Pete Rose. But it does not compare to the plot line of 1991. The most improbable script that didn't originate with someone in Hollywood. You want tense? 3 games went to extra innings.
Yes.
3 games ended with the winning run scoring on the final pitch. 4 ended with a team scoring the win in its final at-bat. 5 games were decided by 1 run. By the time it ended, no one in Minnesota or Atlanta had any fingernails remaining. You want controversy?
Ken Herbeck
Yes.
auditioned, and here's where I get my pro wrestling reference in every episode. High five. You want controversy? Ken Herbeck auditioned for Vince McMahon in the World Wrestling Federation when he lifted Ron Gant off first base and tagged him out, resulting in cheers in Minnesota and numerous death threats when they arrived in Atlanta. You want drama? Kirby Puckett, a Minnesota icon who will be voted into Cooperstown this winter, had a game for the ages in Game 6. He scaled the plexiglass and left center to rob Atlanta of a home run. He drove in 2 runs, scored another, and stole a base, then hit a home run to win the game in the 11th. Morris returned home at age 37 as a free agent. Won Game 1, left with a lead in Game 4, and stomped to the mound inning after inning to win Game 7. A young John Smoltz and Tom Glavine made their postseason debuts on ways to becoming a part of October as traditional department store Christmas decorations. And best of all, the series didn't involve a single New York team, instead bringing together the previous season's last 2 place teams, the first time even one team had gone from worst to first in baseball's modern league history. Rather than leave fans nationwide hating the winners and thinking their favorite team could never compete against the Yankees' riches, it left fans with the most important feeling of all, hope and cardiac arrest. Had the 1991 series been played in New York or Boston or down the block, it would be regarded as the best series of all time, hands down. Instead, Ken Burns devoted 9 episodes to his baseball documentary and never mentioned Morris's masterpiece outing. Apparently, either Buck O'Neill wasn't available or there wasn't enough banjo music for Morris's shutout. Prior to the first pitch of Game 7, leadoff hitter Lonnie Smith walked to the plate and shook hands with Minnesota catcher Brian Hopper. More than a sign of friendship, it was an acknowledgement that the two had been part of something bigger than either player. They were part of the best World Series ever played, even if network executives disagreed. Right. So that was a long-winded read, but that kind of sets the tone for what we're going to talk about.
Very close series.
Yeah. So are you ready for this?
Oh, yeah.
Are you tired? You good?
I'm good.
You straight?
Yep.
Love you, dog. Couldn't do this without you. So here we go. This is why we're here. 1991 World Series. So, Game 1 was played October 19th, 1991 at the Metrodome. First pitch thrown out by Steve Palermo to Al Newman, the umpire that had been... Yeah. Right. National anthem sung by the Empress of Soul, Gladys Knight. 55,108 fans in attendance. So, let's see. Like I said, he was attempting to stop a mugging. He was shot. But anyways, he walked out on crutches to the mound. And after he threw out the first pitch, Twins Al Newman brought the ball back to Palermo, and the series umpires all jogged out to the mound to, thank him and celebrate, check on him. Minnesota sent their ace, Jack Morris, to the mound for Game 1. Let me put my glasses on so time to get serious now. I put this font way too small. Okay. I lost my eyes are adjusting. So he went out on the mound for Game 1. Atlanta's rotation was filled with a lot of young arms, but they're obviously going to go with experience in Game 1, so they sent Charlie Leibrandt to the mound. In his first season in his hometown, the future Hall of Famer, as I mentioned, he'd won 18 games. He was the ace for the Detroit Tigers. He won the 84 World Series. Of course, Leibrandt won the 85. God damn, that was a great episode. Great World Series. Oh, fuck it, I can see better with these off. All right, Kurt. Yeah. So, here we go. So, you got 2 veterans on the mound for Game 1. Minnesota scored the first run of the series in the bottom of the third with 2 out. Leadoff hitter Gladden come up. Gladden walked and then stole second. Rookie second baseman Chuck Knobloch
singled to drive him in, but was caught in a rundown in between first and second, which you watched the clip I sent you.
Yeah.
Kelly later said he wanted Knobloch to take the turnaround first to draw the throw away from the plate and allow the score to run. The Twins added 3 more runs in the 5th as Kent Herbeck led off with a double. Scott Lisa singled. Shortstop Greg Gagne hit a 3-run shot. And then Liebert was pulled from the game after a home run, and reliever Jim Clancy allowed Gladden and Knobloch to reach base on an error and a walk. Gladden reached third on a fly ball by my man, Kirby Puckett, for the first out, and after Knobloch stole second, Chili Davis was intentionally walked. Twins catcher Brian Harper lifted a fly ball to the left field that was caught for the second out. Gladden tagged again, tried to score, running over Atlanta catcher Olsen in the process, which if you've not seen that clip, it's awesome.
Hard hit.
Olsen held on to the ball, though, for the third out, even though Gladden flipped him so hard that he momentarily... Did you see the clip? He was upside down on his head. Yeah.
They shook hands.
They shook hands after
that. Yeah. Good hard.
His fucking legs are perpendicular. He's straight up in the...
Good hard baseball player. I mean...
These sissies nowadays wouldn't.
Oh, man.
Braves both broke through against Morris in the top of the 6th as Treadway and Justice reached base with 2 out. Gant followed with a single that Gladden made an error on, which scored Treadway and left runners at second and third. Runners in scoring position. RISP.
Yes. Important stat.
Something a lot of people don't even know.
The
runners in scoring position. RISP.
In other words, the men left on base.
Yeah. Okay, where the fuck are we at? I made this font way too small here. Okay, so Morris was in a jam at that point. He got out by striking out Beam to end the inning. The Twins added an insurance run in the bottom of the inning as Herbeck homered off Clancy. And then after walking the first 2 batters of the night to lead off the 8th, Morris was pulled for the game in favor of Mark Guthrie. Who induced a double play off Terry Pendleton's bat. Guthrie walked Justice. Twins closer Aguilera came into the game and gave up a hit to Gant. The hit drove Lonnie Smith from third, and the run was charged at Morris. It was the last scored run as the Twins won 5-2. Aguilera picking up the 4-out save. 4 outs.
4 outs.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Liebert's poor performance resulted in him being removed from the rotation, although he did pitch in Game 6, facing just 1 batter. During this game, though, not a lot of people know this, Herbeck hit a pop-up foul that hit Commissioner Faye Vincent's daughter in the face.
I did not know that. Oh, damn.
Probably was not happy about that. So... I guess I don't need to break down or do you want me to break down every game? You want to break down every game or not?
I mean,
because I got the notes in here. You know me, I always put shit in because I never know what we're going to need.
I kind of like to run down.
So you want me to break down every game?
How things went.
Okay.
It kind of paints a picture, I mean, a little bit.
Atlanta scored no home runs in Game 1. Minnesota scored 2 in the 5th inning and the 6th inning from Gagne and Herbeck. Game 2 took place the next night, October 20th, from the Metrodome again. AL president from 84 to 94, Dr. Bobby Brown, did the first pitch. Country music legend, colored fellow with the most beautiful voice you've ever heard. Charlie Pride did the national anthem.
There you go.
55, almost 56,000 in change there. Glavine, who won the Cy Young Award in 91 for Atlanta. Glavine took the mound in Game 2 against Kevin Tappiani. Tappiani had the lowest ERA of the Twins rotation, and Glavine led the Braves in wins with 20, so this was sure to be something. Leading off the bottom of the first, Gladden lifted a seemingly routine pop out towards second base.
Yeah.
Atlanta fielders Justice and Mark Lemke.
Yeah,
Do you remember what happened? They ran into each other. Yeah. And the bell fell out of Lemke's glove. Gladden reached second on a 2-base error. They walked Knobloch. Glavin introduced Puckett to a ground to third, where Pendleton stepped on the bag to retire Glavin. Threw across to Sid Beam to retire Puckett for the double play. The next batter, Davis, homered off Glavin, gave the Twins a 2-0 lead. So right. Braves got a run back at the top of the second when Justice singled and doubled to third by Bream. Then scored a sacrifice fly by Hunter. Controversy occurred the next inning. That was when you remember that.
Yes.
You watched the same clip I sent you, right? It was like an hour and a half fucking video. Lonnie Smith reached first on an error. 2 outs. Gant ripped a single to left. Smith was playing for a record 4th team in the World Series at the time. He tried to beat the throw to third from Gladden. It was wild, and it missed, I guess. Yeah. I mean, it missed. And I lost my place. It missed, so Smith took third, but Gant was caught between the bases trying to advance the throw. Topiani, backing up the play, fielded Gladden's throw and threw back to first. Gant headed back to the base, standing up, but off balance, and in the process became entangled with Herbeck, who continued to apply the tag and could be seen pulling Gant off the bag. He pulled him off the bag. He claimed, to this day, they claim he didn't pull him off the bag.
He used his glove.
Right.
And you can squeeze your glove together.
Right.
So he clearly had to hold his leg and pulled him off the bag.
I wish I could find that clip, but it's buried in that video I sent you. But anyway, so he pulls him off the bag. First base umpire Drew Cobble, in the video that I sent you, he said he was out. Gant's pissed, screaming. First base coach Pat Corrales is over there arguing. Nothing's happening. Cobble said in an interview conducted for the home video recap, which is the video we're talking about that I sent you. It's like an hour and a half video. He said that it was clear he was going to be out anyways because his momentum was carrying him off. I call bullshit.
Yeah, I do too.
Herbeck pulled him off the bag.
It's pretty clear.
I mean, and I'm pulling for the Twins in this one, but
it was clear he pulled him.
Herbeck pulled him off the bag.
Yeah, and that kind of set the tone for the rest of the game.
So a little more on this. This is where you already get controversy right here. So Gant was not in control of his body, which is what Gobble had said in the video that I sent you. He explained, everybody watches the feet on the replays. You need to watch the upper body. He's fallen over, and my judgment is his momentum after he hit the bag carried him off and on. He was out. There was no way he was going to be safe. Herbert said he fell, they pushed, they went back and forth. This call has since, in baseball history, been ranked as one of the top 10 worst baseball calls by both ESPN, Sports Illustrated, and MLB.com.
It was that bad.
Not Don Dinkinger status?
No.
But
no.
You're like,
it was still bad, though. I mean, blatantly obvious.
Yeah. Herbeck became pretty hated in Atlanta when they went for games 3, 4, and 5. He received death threats, but he was loved at home. In 2011, the Minnesota Twins celebrated the 20th anniversary of this by commissioning a bobblehead of Herbeck and Grant entangled, and it sold like fucking hotcakes. So. All right, let's continue because we still got a lot to get to if we're going to run down every game. The Braves tied the game in the 5th when Olsen doubled and advanced to third on a ground out by Mark Lemke and came on home on a sacrifice fly by Rafael Belliard. The game stayed tied in the 8th, and in the top half, Belliard got a leadoff hit on a bunt single. And after a sacrifice, Pendleton, beat an infield hit. Topiani, though, came back, got Gant on a foul pop-up and Justice on a fly to end the threat. Kelly remembered seeing a tape of a game that showed Glavin in disbelief that Atlanta was unable to score and felt that Glavin's emotions took over. Immediately in the bottom half, the unheralded Scott Leasis drilled Glavin's first pitch into the left field seats for what proved to be the game-winning home run. Both starting pitchers stayed in the game through 8th innings and were quite effective, giving up just 5 runs combined. Aguilera earned the save for the Twins, and the series headed to Atlanta for the next 3, with Minnesota leading 2-0. So,
good shit.
Good shit. So, no home runs again for Atlanta in Game 2. Chili Davis hits one in the first. Scott Leasis hits one in the 8th. So we go to Game 3. 2 days later at the old Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. First pitch thrown out from Jimmy Carter to Greg Olson. October 22nd, 1991. 50,000 fans in attendance, so a little bit less. The Atlanta Symphony Orchestra sang the national anthem. They had an orchestra there.
Didn't know that. I don't remember
I didn't know that either.
I don't remember that.
I gotta. Not supposed to be answering. Are we technically working when we do this? You're not. I got a text message, Kurt.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, dude.
There we go. Boy, how would you look to see? I have the face for radio, don't I?
Oh, yeah.
I have the face for radio.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Game 3. The series moves to Atlanta. This was funny because Tom Kelly was quoted as saying managing without the designated hitter rule was right up there with rocket science. The overconfident skipper would regret his offhand remark, as he demonstrated his lack of both scientific and mathematical skills in Game 3. So, Steve Avery's taking the mound. He was the hero in the NLCS. He was a starter for Game 3. And what is considered to be one of the greatest World Series games ever played, Game 3, the Braves outlasted the Twins in a thrilling 12-inning battle. Scott Erickson took the mound for the Minnesota Twins. So that was my opening paragraph, or my opening line for that. Now, if I scroll down just a little bit, here we go. In a play reminiscent of Game 2, Dan Gladden led off the game by reaching on a fielding error. He lifted a fly ball toward right center, where Justice and Gantt both went to catch it, but neither called for the ball, and it dropped between them. Gladden reached third on a hit standing up, and Chuck Knobloch subsequently flied out, allowing him to score the first run of the game to end Avery's. God damn it, I'm tongue-tied. And end Avery's scoreless inning streak. So at this point, the Braves kind of get back in it in the second when Olson scored on Rafael Belliard single. Justice led off the fourth with his first World Series home run, and that puts the Braves in the lead for the first time in the World Series. They're at a 2-1 lead right now. So
and the tomahawk chop is going crazy.
Oh, I love it. That is the greatest chant also. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. That is the greatest chant. You know what? You know what, Kurt?
There you go.
It's the greatest chant in baseball. How do some people find this offensive? They're turning it off where people get butt hurt. Anyways, so in the fifth inning, the Braves come back and scored again when Lonnie Smith homered. They pulled Scott Erickson after that shortly after, because he allowed Pendleton and Justice to get on base on a walk and an error by Knobloch. David Weston comes in the game, walked 2 consecutive batters, okay? So that's forcing a home and unearned run, charged to Erickson, leaving the bases loaded for Terry Leach, who struck out Mark Lemke to end the inning. So with a 4-1 score, the Braves looked to close it out. As it turned, game's just getting started. That run resulted in the first inning. The run that... Oh, God. I get so excited. Need to take a deep breath, right? Sip a little Diet Mountain Dew, my crack. I get so excited. We're at an hour and 45 minutes.
We're doing all right.
We're on Game 3.
Yeah.
I allotted, I figured maybe 2.5 hours on this one.
Right.
Just based, because I've got to the point now where we've done so many, judging by my notes and how much we fuck off, which is kind of a lot. I can kind of judge our time, so I'm figuring about another hour, 45 minutes or so. So, depending on how often you want to stop and talk about Charlie
Lee Brandt.
Once he ain't gonna talk no more, he wasn't in the rotation anymore. Yeah. But anyway, so the game's just getting started here. So after the run that resulted from the first inning misfire between Gant and Justice, Avery had been perfect for 5 innings, 15 consecutive outs. But then he kind of started to slow down. So here comes my man, my hero as a kid, Kirby Puckett. Kirby homered in the 7th to make it 4-2. One inning after 2 twin hits and 2 other flyouts to the warning track, Atlanta manager Bobby Cox reluctantly sent Avery back out for the 8th inning. The first batter he faced was Brian Harper. You've talked about Brian Harper a little bit. Brian Harper was pinch hitting for replacement catcher Junior Ortiz. Harper never started any games that season when Erickson pitched, as he preferred to pitch to Ortiz. After he pitched on an error, Avery went to the showers in favor of Bragg's regular season closer, Alejandro Pena. Yeah. They call him the
ex-Dodger.
Yeah, they call him, the video I watched, they call him like the dirty jalapeno or the hot-handed jalapeno or something, because he had dynamite fastball.
Oh, yeah.
So anyways, Pena had been 13 for 13th in save opportunities since joining the Braves in a late season trade with the Mets, but he had not pitched since the previous week before. Chili Davis comes in, pinch hitting for Steve Bedrosian. Chili takes advantage of this and hits a home run to tie the game. So the game remains tied, and now we're going into extra innings. And a series of substitutions and switches by both teams turned the game on its ear. Twins manager Tom Kelly pretty much went through the remaining players on his bench by the 11th inning. This is so crazy, like this World Series. So they enter the 12th. He was down to only 3 players left, all pitchers. Of those 3, Rick Aguilera was the only one who was available to play. The other 2 were his other starters, Jack Morris and Kevin Tappiani. The top of the 12th began with Mark Wohlers on the mound for the Braves. He retires Randy Bush, flyout. Gladden reached on a single. Knobloch comes in and falls with a ground ball to second. That probably could have been a double play. If you remember watching the video, it probably could have been a double play. But Lemke just
couldn't get out of his glove.
Yeah. So Gladden...
That happens from time to time.
So Gladden gets on third on an error, and the go-ahead run in scoring position. Braves manager Bobby Cox brings in Kent Merker to pitch. So all this going on, Aguilera was warming up in the bullpen. On the CBS TV broadcast that showed the clip, that the pitcher's spot was due in 2 batters. Herbeck was the batter. They theorized that if Merker retired Herbeck, Cox would elect to walk the on-deck hitter Kirby Puckett. If Knobloch and Gladden were still on the base and forced Kelly to decide to use Aguilera as a pinch hitter for the pitcher, it's crazy.
Yeah.
A lot of, cat and mouse. That's what you always say. So, I've only got 3 more paragraphs. Game 3 was a crazy game.
Yeah.
So, on the 4th pitch of at bat, with Knobloch running to avoid a potential double play, Herbeck strikes out looking. So, Cox brings in Jim Clancy to pitch to Puckett, and they put him on intentionally to load the bases. With his hand forced, Kelly summoned Aguilera from the bullpen to pinch hit. Aguilera had some previous success as a hitter, and he had come up as an infielder, but he had not had any bats since he had played with the Mets in '89. So, on the 3rd pitch of the at-bat, he flied out to deep center field, leaving the bases loaded and the game deadlocked. Kelly would later say in an interview that if the game had gone on longer, since he had used up all his relief pitchers, he would have put left fielder Gladden, who had previously made emergency pitching appearances on at least 2 occasions, on the mound, and have Aguilera in the outfield. So that's a whole nother fucking issue right there. So here we go. In the bottom of the 12th inning, Aguilera remained in the game to pitch and quickly got the first out on the one pitch. But then Justice comes in and he singles down the right field line. Brian Hunter pops out. Justice steals second on an 0-2 pitch to Olsen. With 2 outs at first base open, the normally light-hitting Mark Lemke on deck, okay, Aguilera, who's worried about Olsen being a clutch hitter, pitched him very carefully with the stolen base and walked him. Lemke, who had caused a major Twins rally with his fielding error, now entered into like World Series hero status by hitting a single to left that enabled Justice to beat the throw home from Gladden. His score gave the Braves a 5-4 win and cut the lead from 2 games to 1. Yeah,
pandemonium.
Yeah, pandemonium. The game lasted for a then record 4 hours and 4 minutes. So it was later broken in 2005, which will be another World Series we cover sometime. Chicago White Sox.
Yeah.
So we go 12 innings. Chili Puckett. Goddamn.
Kirby
Puckett, Chili Davis both go yard. And David Justice and Lonnie Smith both go yard. So game 4 the next night. Braves pitcher from 1964 to 1983, Phil Niekro, threw out the first pitch. Travis Tritt, country music singer, national anthem.
I like Travis Tritt.
I gotta stop kicking the mic. You know, when I'm editing these episodes, and you've seen me edit them while I'm at your house sometimes when we're hanging out, and you see the wavelength go through of our voices, and then you see that one really fucked up line that's all over. That's when I kick the table and the mic. Yeah. Because you see me and you're like, what is that? That's where I kicked the table and the whole mic picked it up. So Twins go back to Morris on short rest for game 4. Atlanta had another great arm though. Fresh off pitching well in the NLCS. This is where John Smoltz makes his World Series debut on Wednesday night. And just like the first 3 games, so we're in game 4, Twins score first. Second inning, Brian Harper scored on Mike Paculero's double. The Braves tied in the third with Pendleton, got his first postseason home run. The Braves appeared to take the lead in the 5th when Lonnie Smith singled and stole second. Pendleton then comes with a deep fly ball to center field. Puckett went back to field it. Lonnie Smith stepped between the bases to see if Puckett had a chance to catch it. He got under the ball, reached up for it. And then Lonnie Smith decides to go back to second to tag up since it appeared Puckett had the ball in his reach. But Kirby misjudged the ball, and it nicked the top of his glove and fell behind him. Smith then took off and tried to score, but with his tagging up, it took him slightly longer to get to home plate than he would have taken if he would have just stood where he was. As a result, the ball reached Harper before Smith got to the plate, and Smith's only course of action, I should say, was to decide to try to dislodge the ball from Harper by plowing into him. And that happened, but despite the pretty do you remember watching that clip?
Yeah.
Harper held on to the ball the whole time like a trooper. So that was, recorded the first out. Pendleton on third. Now Morris having walked Ron Gant. David Justice stood in. So Jack Morris goes and throws a pitch that gets past Harper, but he was able to recover and tag Pendleton out to score. The game remained tied through the 6th inning. The top of the 7th, Mike
Paculeiro.
I'm having too much fun with these names. Mike Paculeiro homered to give the Twins a 2-1 lead. At that point, with a lead and the bullpen that had allowed only 1 earned run in the entire postseason, the Twins opted to go for more runs by pinch hitting for Morris and removing him after 6 innings. He had been effective. He only allowed 1 run, but you know what? He's our ace. We got to protect him. We're going to shut it down. But he had a high pitch count. Let's shut him down. This move kind of backfired
as the Braves got the run back in the bottom of the inning when Smith made up for his base running mistake earlier and homered off Twins reliever Carl Willis to tie the game. So we get to the bottom of the ninth, still tied at 2 runs apiece with 1 out. Guthrie's pitching. Mark Lemke drills a triple off the left field center wall. Yep. That was a beautiful hit ball, by the way.
Yes.
Did you? How much of that video did you watch? Did you watch it all? Because we had like a week or two to watch it.
I didn't end up watching all of it.
I watched
bits and pieces of it.
I watched about a solid hour of it. I didn't watch the last half hour, but beautiful hit ball.
Oh, yeah. Light hitting Mark Lemke.
You like when I do that, don't you?
Yeah. Oh,
game enters bottom of the ninth, still tied at 2. We talked about that. Lemke, the triple play. With the pitcher spot due up after Blauser, Bobby Cox sent Francisco Cabrera to the on-deck circle. Once Blauser was given his intentional walk, Tom called back in the dugout, and veteran minor leaguer Jerry Willard was sent in to pinch hit. Willard hit a short fly ball to Shane Mack in right field. Lemke tagged and broke for the plate as soon as Mack caught the ball. Mack's throw beat Lemke to the plate. He slid around Harper.
Beautiful slide.
Yeah, seen that? Yeah, beautiful slide. Plate umpire called him safe despite the objection of, everybody.
He was safe.
No, he was safe, yeah. Tim McCarver explained on the CBS broadcast the specific reason Lemke was called safe. Since the play at the plate was not a forced play, Harper needed to tag Lemke with the ball, whether it was in his hand or in his glove. While Harper did have the ball in his possession and made contact with Lemke, he did not do so with his catcher's mitt. The contact was up his arm and elbow, thus Totter ruled that he had missed the tag. It was not uncommon at the time for umpires to call a runner out when the ball beat them to the plate, regardless of the time or location of the tag, which is true.
Yeah.
Especially back in those days. But plate umpire Terry Tata held to the letter of the law. McCarver later narrated the play as an arm's length and elbows width, the subtle difference between safe and out. The win tied the series at 2 games apiece and ensured a return home to Minnesota. So,
good shit.
Mike Pagliaro homered for Minnesota in the 7th. Pendleton and Smith homered in the 3rd and the 7th for Atlanta. We still have 3 more games, son. You good?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I don't want you getting old on me here.
Too late for that.
Well, it's only 10 o'clock. That's early for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're doing all right.
We're doing all right. Game 5, the last game in Atlanta. Bobby Thompson and Ralph Branca from The Shot, the 2 people from The Shot heard around the world, the Yankees back in the day. October 24th, 91, Atlanta County Fulton Stadium. Vince Gill, national anthem. Game 5 was pretty... Glavine faced off Topiani, Game 2 rematch. Unlike the previous game, neither pitcher had his best stuff this time around. This one was kind of a shit show. Topiani fell apart in the 4th and Glavine in the 6th. Where their first matchup, the first game was pretty close. Game 5 would be the biggest offensive outburst of the series for either team. But despite the score, the game was kept close until after the 7th inning stretch. For 3 innings, the pitchers switched zeros back and forth with each other. In the 4th, Gant singled to left, and Davis Justice homered off the top of the wall for a 2-0 Braves lead. Sid Bream would follow with a walk, and then Olsen then hit what appeared to be a double play grounder to second, but the ball hit Bream's leg, resulted in Bream being called out for runner interference.
I remember that.
Yeah. Marks Olsen safe at first. Mark Lemke, the hero of Game 3 and 4, drilled another triple that scored Olsen and then scored on a double play by Raphael Billiard. At this point, the Braves led 4-0, their biggest lead in any game of the series, and then here in the 5th inning comes up, Pendleton and Gant singled. Pendleton moves to third. Justice hit into a fielder's choice that scored Pendleton and gave the Browns a 5-0 lead. While Glavine working on a 2-hitter, the game seemed to be firmly in hand for the Braves, but Glavine's control left him in the 6th inning. He was pulled from the game. Chuck Knobloch reached on a 1-out walk, then went to third on a single by Puckett. A walk to Chili Davis loaded the bases, and Glavine all of a sudden couldn't find the striking zone. He gave up runs. The game entered the 7th. The Braves lead 5-3. I don't really have a whole lot. Excuse me. Both managers emptied their benches to give playing time. It sounded like I said bitches, didn't it? God damn it. Maybe part of this just is we might have the face for radio. Maybe we don't have the voice for radio. Our enunciation sucks.
It pretty much does, but oh well.
I love deep sluts. I mean deep stats. God, it's bad. I looked at that. It looks literally like I wrote sluts.
That's why I hesitated before. I was like, wait a minute.
The few sponsors we have are getting pulled now. Fuck it. I mean, gonna edit it out. It's humor.
It is humor. It was honest.
Both managers emptied their bench. It really sounded like I said empty their bitches, didn't it? God damn it. This is why we never get episodes done in a reasonable time, because we just...
Okay, that's funny.
Oh, God. I need a cigarette. You need a cigarette?
Both managers emptied their benches.
Well, because I skipped a couple paragraphs, because I was like, man, I'm thinking to myself, Kurt's probably getting tired of me running down every fucking thing on every game.
I mean, not really, because if you didn't know it, if you didn't watch it, or didn't, I mean, you're kind of painting a picture. I mean,
well, I mean, the last thing I said was the games entered the 7th with the Braves leading 5-3. Then I skipped the next paragraph where the last sentence says the Braves ended the 7th with an 11-3 lead. So I just left out how they scored 6 more. So fuck it. We'll just go back. Minnesota sent David West out to begin the bottom of the 7th, okay? West had failed to retire a batter in Game 3, which, if you remember, they talk about that in the tape. He faced 2 batters, giving up 2 walks, which one of these walks did to force a home run. The run was unearned run. They get charged to Erickson. Lonnie Smith hit his 3rd home run for the 3rd consecutive night to give the Braves a 6-3 lead. Okay. And then the proverbial floodgates open. Yeah. Okay. Pendleton and Gant walked. Justice singled to score Pendleton. And West was again taken out without retiring a batter. In this game, he was charged with 4 earned runs without retiring a batter for an infinite ERA.
Oh, boy.
Brian Hunter singled to score Gant and put 2 on with nobody out and an 8-3 Braves lead. After Olsen popped out, Lemke hit his 3rd triple in his last at-4 bats, driving home Justice and Hunter and scoring when Rafael Belliard singled to center. The Braves ended the 7th with an 11-3 lead, and the announcers start to talk about the team's chances in Game 6. But there are still 2 innings left. Chili Davis, playing in this game in right field in place of Mack, was 0 for 15. Singled. Wait, Chili Davis. Is that right? I don't know. Singled. He moved on a second on a ground out, scored on Al Newman's triple. In the bottom of the 8th, Pendleton doubled and Gant tripled, scoring Pendleton. Justice grounded out the pitcher, scoring Gant and Hunter, and then ended the Braves' offensive barrage with a home run. Both managers emptied their benches to give playing time to non-starters. Randy St. Clair gave up a run when Gladden tripled, the 5th triple of the game, by the way, and scored on fielder's choice.
That's got to be some sort of record, don't it? 5 triples in one game?
That's got to be up there.
The game ended in a 14-5 Braves rout. The only game in this entire World Series that was completely out of reach. The Braves scored just under half their total runs for the series in these 8 innings. They now had their first lead in the series game, 3-2. And the marquee wall at the Atlanta Fulton County Stadium at the end of the game read 3 at home and 1 at the Dome. So we're gonna go back to Minnesota for games. Yeah, well, before we get there, okay. Fuck it, we're gonna get there now. So Game 6, first pitch thrown out by Twins outfielder Tony Olivia, former. They had 55,000 people. They had more attendance at the Metrodome than.
Little bigger stadium line.
Okay, so to set this, we're Game 6 now. Atlanta's 1 game away from a title. But that would have to come in the Metrodome, which is hard. Steve Avery matches up with Scott Erickson. The top of the first, the Braves got 2 runners out, but got 2 runners on, but they stranded them. At the bottom of the first, Chuck Knobloch singled with 1 out, and then Kirby Puckett strode to the plate, looking to break out of the slump he'd kind of been in for most of the series. He tripled to left field, scored Knobloch his first big play of the game. After retiring Chili Davis in the second out of the inning, Avery faced Shane Mack, who was also kind of in a cold streak there. Mack hit a broken bat single to score Kirby Puckett, and Scott Leasis followed with a single, advancing Mack to third, but Avery escaped further damage by retiring Herbeck to keep the game at 2-0. In the top of the third, the Braves hit Erickson hard, but failed to score. After Terry Pendleton reached with 1 out, Ron Gant drove a pitch deep into left field. Puckett, giving chase, tracked the ball down, leaped to snare it before it could hit the 13-foot plexiglass barrier.
Great catch. Wow.
One of the most famous catches in baseball history, absolutely. At least World Series history.
He went a long way to get that ball.
Yeah. Pendleton, who had reached second and was trying to advance to third, was forced to turn around, and he barely beat Puckett's throw back to first. In the fourth, the Twins appeared ready to increase their lead, putting runners on second and third with 1 out, but Avery buckled down and retired the side to keep the game close. Then another important moment goes down in the 5th inning when Rafael Belliard kept the Twins from completing a double play with a hellacious slide.
Yeah.
His hustle enabled Lonnie Smith to reach first. This is important when Pendleton golfed Erickson's next pitch into the seats, his second World Series home run, shout out Terry Pendleton, to tie the game at 2. With 2 outs, Justice lifted what appeared to be a go-ahead home run for the Braves to right, but at the last instant, the ball hooked foul by less than a foot.
Yeah.
You seen it?
Yes.
That was awful close.
Close.
That couldn't have been a foot.
Couldn't have been a foot.
That's what I wrote in my notes. Couldn't have been a foot. Yeah, that was fucking close.
It was close, yes.
So Erickson retired Justice, and the Twins... came to bat with a score tie. Gladden responded with a walk and a steal a second. He moved to third on Knobloch's line-out drive to right and scored on Puckett's center fielding sacrifice fly. The Twins led 3-2. Avery would then get relieved after the inning. And the Twins kept their 1-1 lead in the 7th. Mark Lemke singled to center, knocking Erickson out of the game, and went on to score on a wild pitch by reliever Mark Guthrie. After the strikeout, Smith walked and Pendleton reached on an infield error. Gant hit what seemed to be a sure double play ball off Carl Willis. I lost my place. Grant hit seemed to be of Carl Willis. The ground ball retired out the jam by striking out Justice to end the inning with the score tied at 3. Wilson was charged with a blown save, but he pitched 2 more scoreless innings, the 8th and the 9th. Atlanta kept the Twins off the scoreboard, while left-handed specialist Mike Stanton pitched the 7th and 8th innings, and struggling closer Alejandro Jalopena pitched the 9th and 10th innings. The game remained tied at 3 until the 11th.
Cox sent Game 1 starter Charlie
Lebrand
to the mound to face Puckett, who recalled telling Davis that he planned to bunt for a base hit, to which Davis responded, "Bump my ass. Hit it out of the fucking park and let's go home." Puckett replied he would take a few pitches first, at a rare move for him, as he was known to always be
first ball
a murderer. Yeah. After uncharacteristically taking a strike and 2 balls from Lebrand, Puckett launched the next pitch into the left center field seats for the dramatic game-winning home run that tied the series at 3 games apiece. Joe Buck famously called the home run with the line, I'm sorry, Kurt, John Buck, Joe Buck's father.
Right.
Joe Buck had that same call, I think, in the 2011 World Series that we talked about. Yeah. This was John Buck, Joe's dad, and I'm going to play it right here. This is what he famously uttered after this. Let me turn the volume up here. Okay. Shout out Major League Baseball. We're using your clip. Pandemonium. That's loud as fuck. Wow, that's loud, Kurt.
You got to feel for Charlie Lebrand there a little bit.
You do, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, great pitcher. He just wasn't great that night.
And we'll see you tomorrow night. He's not even saying no more. They're just.
I mean, from that point there.
Look at the crowd.
Oh yeah. And disbelief on all the Braves players.
Puckett over defense, Kirby.
It's a shame he's gone already.
Yeah, it breaks my heart.
Yeah. He's supposed to be in the Hall of Fame this year?
He went in the Hall of Fame I think it was 2003. Anyways, that moment is captured in a statue of Puckett just outside Gate 34 at the Twins' new stadium now, Target Field, pumping his fist in the air. Puckett's home run forced Game 7, Puckett's home run forced the first Game 7 since the 1987 World Series, which was also played at the Metrodome and won by the Twins. So Pendleton went yard, Puckett went yard in that game. So here we go. Game 7, October 27th, 1991. 55,118 people in the stadium. And a 7-year-old Minnesota girl named Jacqueline Jaquez. Boy, I'm bad at these. Anyways, she sang the national anthem. So Game 7 matched Detroit native John Smoltz against his hometown hero, Jack Morris, who had been a longtime Tiger standout. So the Braves' 24-year-old prodigy idolized his pitching opponent. Idolized him. The two would come together for one of the most intense battles ever witnessed on a World Series diamond. Both aces were in peak form and held a 0-0 tie going in the 8th. Morris returned to the mound for the third start of the series, while Smoltz made his second for the Braves. Going into this game, this series has been regarded as one of the best ever. Game 7 fully reinforced that point. A symbolic moment for this series occurred on the first at bat when Braves leadoff hitter Lonnie Smith shook hands with Twins catcher Brian Harper just before stepping up to the plate.
Yep.
Right? This scene as a gesture of respect between the teams had for each other. Although Morris later admitted in the competitive heat of the moment he had not been too happy with his catcher about it. Neither team was able to score early on. The Twins had their first opportunity at the bottom of the third when Gladden doubled and advanced to third on a fly out by Knobloch, but Smoltz struck out Kirby Puckett to end the inning. The Braves put a runner into scoring position with one out in the top of the 5th as Lemke reached third on a sacrifice bunt by Belliard and a bunt single by Smith. Morris got Terry Pendleton to pop out and then struck out Ron Gant to end the threat.
Neither team threatened again until the 8th inning. Morris retired the Braves in order in both the 6th and 7th, and Smoltz only allowed a single by Gladden in the bottom of the 5th and walked Puckett the next inning before introducing a double play. When Morris and Smoltz both still working on shutouts, the game entered the road half of the 8th with the top of the Atlanta lineup due up. Smith led off the inning with a single. What followed proved to be the first in a costly series of events for the Atlanta Braves. With Pendleton up, manager Bobby Cox called for a hit and run, and Smith took off. Pendleton responded by hitting the deep fly ball into the gap and left on a 1-2 pitch for a double, and with the hit and run called, Smith likely would have scored. However, as he rounded second, Smith stopped running for a brief moment and ended up having to stop at third base. Makes you wonder what would have happened if he...
Right.
Okay. The middle of the Twins infield, Knobloch at second and Gagne at shortstop, acted like they were going to start a double play, and some thought Smith might have fallen for it. Smith himself later denied this, saying that he had been following the trajectory of the ball and wanted to see if either Puckett or Gladden would catch the ball. To further complicate matters, on the pitch before Pendleton's double, Morris got him to swing and miss at a pitch in the dirt. Pendleton contended that he had made contact with the ball and asked home plate umpire John
Dinkinger.
This guy's just everywhere, ain't he?
Yeah.
85. That was a bad call in 85. He asked Dinkinger for an appeal. Dinkinger then asked third base umpire Terry Tata to rule. Dinkinger's probably didn't want any more death threats. Tata said the ball was tipped foul. While the ball did bounce in the dirt, there was no conclusive replay angle that confirmed the foul tip. Morris contended in 2009 that he had indeed struck Pendleton out and that Dinkinger had made the wrong call. Nonetheless, although the run had not scored, both runners were now in scoring position, and a hit would likely drive them both in and give the Braves the first runs of the game. With the middle of the order looming, nobody out, Morris faced Gant looking for a way out of the jam he now found himself in. He was able to introduce a weak ground out to first, which did not allow either runner to advance and gave Minnesota its first out. The next batter was David Justice, and Tom Kelly emerged from the dugout to talk to Morris. Morris was not pleased to see his manager, thought he was coming from the mound to remove him. Instead, he was there to discuss strategy. So nobody's pulling the kid yet. Or, I shouldn't say kid. Justice was a significant enough power threat that Kelly thought of intentionally walking Justice and pitching instead to Sid Bream, who had been struggling throughout the series. Morris agreed with Kelly, and Justice was walked to load the bases for Bream. That's pretty ballsy.
Yeah.
This proved to be the last in a series of events that ended up costing the Braves, as Morris induced a ground ball up the first base line. First baseman Kent Herbeck threw home to retire Smith, whose mistake had set this whole series in motion. Harper then fired back to Herbeck to retire Breen, who had been playing with chronic bad knees. The rare 3-2-3.
Yep.
Tell everybody what a 3-2-3 is.
What, double play?
Yeah.
First to catcher, back to first. Pretty rare, yes.
The Braves did not have a runner reach the base for the remainder of the game. The bottom of the 8th, Bush pinch hit for Gagne to lead off for the Twins, singled off Smoltz, and then was removed in favor of the faster Al Newman to pinch run. Smoltz then retired Gladden, but gave up a single to Knobloch, his 8th single of the series. With one out, runners on the corners, Puckett coming to the plate, Cox elected to remove Smoltz from the game. Mike Stanton entered and intentionally walked Puckett to load the bases, an unusual decision. As you know, managers usually only issue intentional walks when first base is open, right. Not in these circumstances, where the walk will advance a runner into scoring position.
Right.
But
who's coming up to bat?
Herbeck.
He wanted the lefty matchup is what it boiled down to.
Herbeck, who was normally a power threat, hadn't really hit since Game 3, and Stanton had struck out 3 times in a row, a reason the Braves used Stanton, a left-handed specialer.
Yeah.
Because Stanton had struck Herbeck out 3 times in a row.
This time, Stanton got Herbeck to hit a relatively soft line drive to Mark Lemke, who stepped on the second to double up. Now block. The game continued with no score. So here we are now. The Braves went down the order in the top of the ninth as Morris retired Hunter, Olsen, and Lemke. The Twins, with a chance to win the game in their final at bat, led off with a Chili Davis single. After Jarvis Brown come in to run for Davis, Harper attempted to move him over with a bunt down the first base line. Stanton misstepped, coming to play for the bunt, allowing Harper to reach base without play. So, to make matters worse for Atlanta, Stanton's misstep caused him to strain a muscle in his back.
Yeah.
He got pulled from the game. Cox was forced to bring in Alejandro Jalapeno to pinch to Shane Mack. Despite his early struggles, Pena induced the ground ball double for Mack to record the first 2 outs. He then gave Mike
Eulero
an intentional walk and struck out pinch hitter Paul Sorrento for the last out, marking the third time in the series that a game would be decided in extra innings. So,
to the top of the 10th.
we are, yeah. So, refusing to come out of the game, Morris pitched in the top of the 10th. He successfully rebuffed several attempts by Kelly to remove him during the game, and then was supported by his pitching coach. Confronted with Morris' insistence on pitching the 10th, Kelly is reported to have said, "Oh, hell, it's only a game. I guess we can try again tomorrow night in Game 8. So
that's not much confidence, really.
He's, you know,
I'm sure the pitch count, if I remember right, was pretty high.
126 pitches at the time.
Yeah.
As he had been for most of the night, Morris was effective. He retired Blauser, Smith, and Pendleton in that order. He threw 126 pitches in the game. Smoltz later said that if he had the experience Morris had at the time, he might have tried to argue his way out of being removed from the game as well when he got in trouble in the 8th. Pena faced Gladden to start the bottom half of the inning, and the Twins' leadoff hitter lifted a fly ball to left field after breaking his bat on impact. The ball landed in front of the charging Hunter for a bloop hit, and the ball then took a high bounce that Hunter was unable to field. Center fielder Gant backed up the play and caught the hop, but Gladden dashed to second, beating Gant's throw. Kelly then called for a sacrifice bunt, and Knobloch executed to put the winning run on third with 1 out. As he had done in the 8th, Bobby Cox then calls for an intentional walk to Kirby Puckett. Herbeck, who had not got a hit in his last 16 at-bats, dating back to his single in the 8th inning of Game 3, was next up. Despite Herbeck's 115 World Series average and lack of speed, and even though the Braves had left-hander Kent Merker warming up, who had struck out Herbeck in similar situations earlier in the series, warming up in the bullpen along with right-hander Jim Clancy, Cox decided to call a second consecutive intentional walk, loading the bases to set up a forced play at home plate or the possibility of a double play, which would have ended the inning. This left Kelly with a tough decision. Brown, who pinch ran for the designated hitter Chili Davis, was due up, and he had not recorded a hit in the series. Entering the 10th inning, Kelly had already used 4 of the 7 players on his bench. Then in the top half of the inning, he inserted Scott Leishus, normally a third baseman, into the game at shortstop in place of pinch hitter Paul Sorrento. This left Kelly with backup catcher Junior Ortiz, whom he would need if the game continued and something happened to Harper, and utility man Gene Larkin. Since he would not have needed him to play in the field, he would have filled the designated hitter role if the game advanced beyond the 10th. Kelly decided to send Larkin to the plate. On the first pitch, Larkin drove a single into deep left center over the drawn-in outfield, scoring Gladden with the series-winning run and giving the Twins their second World Championship since moving to Minnesota. Morris was the first player to embrace Gladden at the plate, followed by the others. At the same time, Larkin was mobbed at first base. The two jubilant groups eventually merged in the middle of the diamond. The victorious players were soon joined by their families including Morris's 2 sons, as the Twins players did a victory lap at the Metrodome. And for the first time since 1962, a 7-game World Series ended 1-0. It was the first World Series deciding game to go extra innings since Game 4 of the 39 World Series. This World Series was the first to end with an extra inning Game 7 since 1924. This game set a World Series record for the longest scoreless tie in Game 7. Only one other World Series game went longer without a run. Game 6 of the 56 World Series, which went to 2 outs in the bottom of the 10th before the winning run scored. The 91 World Series was the second in 5 seasons in which the home team won all 7 games of the series. The other time this happened, 87, Twins and Cardinals. This was replicated in the 2001 World Series with the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Yankees, which we'll get to one day. So, you doing good?
Good series, man.
You doing good?
Yeah.
You want to do another quick plug?
Yeah.
We'll start to wrap this up.
Yep.
2.5 hours. So, Nana's Aroma LLC. Check her out on Facebook or at nanasaromas.com. Located in beautiful Palmyra, Indiana, Harrison County. She does have a store on site, 845 Church Street. Call her to schedule an appointment for store hours right now due to COVID. Of course, you can buy anything online. She ships all over the U.S. Everything is custom made, including the labels from start to finish. Yeah. I brought our candle over. We didn't burn it.
It smells awesome.
Tell everybody what it said. Can you read the label? What is it?
Blueberry cheesecake.
What does it say on there? Does she put a description?
Smells like a delicious cheesecake smothered in yummy blueberries. And
it does, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
That's our candle, bro. We haven't lit it. You know what?
Let's light that sucker.
Light that sucker right now. She kept saying, "I appreciate you guys plugging us." I didn't ask her if her web traffic went up since we started plugging it, but she acted like she's... So, I don't know. But, as a thank you, she said she was going to send us candles, and I said, no. I said, don't do it. You're small business. I said, let me, buy one. And she insisted, so she was going to send a candle for me and you. And,
thanks, Nana.
Yeah, thanks, Nana. But everything's custom made, even her labels, everything's done by her, and she does so much more than candles. She does melts, wax warmers, air fresheners, everything you can think of. And the coolest thing about her, I say it every episode, she does all her candles in small batches, small quantities. And then everybody's like, well, why not mass produce? Well, she found out through trial and error she can have a hell of a lot better quality control if she makes small batches. Everything's hand wicked. She's a real treat. I've talked to her a lot on Facebook. She's been through the ringer.
I hear she's a sweetheart.
She's a sweetheart. She I don't know if she'll get mad at me for saying this, but she's a sweetheart. She lost her husband to COVID in December, so she's went back to work full time. So she still does the candles for extra money. So
smells great, by the way.
Help this woman out. Give her a little business. I don't know anybody that don't like candles. Everybody wants their house to smell good. But that's Nana's Aroma LLC on Facebook. Give her a phone call. 812-972-3670. Again, she ships all over the U.S. I don't know about international shipping, which we've only picked up a few streams in Canada. So picked up 30 of them in France, or 15 of them in France that one day. I told
that's kind of odd.
Maybe hackers, But yes, check out Nana's Aromas. Them candles smell so good, bro.
Yeah, it does.
I have a whole bunch of World Series stats, like hitting and pitching for both teams. I'm not really gonna go through those. All you should know is I'm just gonna read the totals. As a total, let's see, and it's right where my page fucking breaks too. So I got to keep my finger down here and scroll up. As a total. They were hitting the World Series champion Twins were hitting 232. How many home runs? 8 home runs, 24 RBIs. Their pitching statistics as a team, their ERA for the World Series as a team was a 3.74, 67 innings pitched, 39 strikeouts. They were 4-3, obviously. For the Braves, they hit a 253 with 8 home runs, 29 RBIs. The Braves pitching statistics, they had a 2.89 ERA. So
that's kind of odd.
Yeah, 2.89 ERA, 48 strikeouts.
The 14-5 game would probably be the count for the difference there on the ERA.
I had sent you a link, as I do. When your age start researching, I send you a few things to read to keep a mental note of, and then links a video to watch. I'd sent you an article recorded last year where it ranked like all the pitching of the World Series, and I'm not going to go through that now because it's just, I don't know why I put it in there. Just know it ran down the pitching for the Minnesota Twins and each pitcher and how they ranked and all their stuff, which I'm not going to go through it because a lot of it's going to be the same shit I read at the beginning of the episode. You should know that they just, ranked Jack Morris first and then their closer Aguilera second as the two biggest stars that are pitching, with Tapiani and Erickson filling out the other 4. And then this is what Kurt was talking about here at the beginning of the series. And every time we do a World Series episode, I'm going to record this. The 2020 COVID-era World Series last year, the ESPN did the article where everything ranked, like we were talked about. Right. They rank every World Series based in 4 ways. Game leverage index, which measures how close the game is on each play and how likely the next play is to shift the team's chances of winning. A game that's close for 9 innings and won by a walk-off in the 10th will rate much better in which one team jumps ahead and runs away with it. Championship leverage index. It's similar to game leverage, except it includes how close the series is itself, meaning a 7-game series will rate much better than a 4-game sweep. How memorable the series was. Like Kurt said, the 1988 World Series is not that memorable, or wasn't that close, but it produces instant recall for 1 inning alone.
Oh, yeah.
And then how historically significant the event was. Oh my God, that candle.
It smells great.
We should have lit this earlier. Okay, anyways, the 1991 Twins over the Braves in 7 games. The ESPN article that ranked all 116, which in the coming months soon to be 117. It ranked all 116 World Series. This game rank came in 2nd. The series leverage came in 3rd. Game leverage came in 6th. Overall, it was ranked as the 2nd greatest World Series of all time, falling obviously to 75 Red Sox and Reds. So, okay, so we got to start wrapping this up. So I'm going to hit you with a little bit of word association. Because you like doing this, and I need a cigarette. I'm smoking like a freight train when I'm with you. So, word association. The first base scuffle between Herbig and Gant.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable? Was he falling off the bag, or did he pick him off?
He picked him off of the bag.
Okay. Chuck Knobloch.
Just gritty. I like
I
him.
love it. Jack Morris.
Lockdown pitcher. I mean,
Okay.
big game, big time.
The decision to keep Morris in Game 7.
Ballsy.
Ballsy? Wow. That's a good one.
Well, I mean, he's 126 pitches deep. That's a high pitch count. But
Kirby Puckett.
awesome center fielder. I mean,
God, I love Kirby Puckett.
oh, me too.
So,
Kirby Puckett's Game 6 winning home run.
Electrifying.
John Smoltz.
Solid.
Tom Glavine.
Even more solid.
Charlie Liebert.
Tough luck. You know, you got to feel for him a little bit there. Right?
Yeah. Steve Avery.
Young. I mean, he's just he's young. He's pretty effective.
I got a few more for you. Terry Pendleton.
Locked down third base.
Gene Larkin.
A hero.
Brian Hunter. First thing comes to mind.
Decent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bobby Cox.
Overrated.
Ooh. Hot take from Kurt.
Hot take.
Tap the mic. Hot take.
He's a good manager. I don't know if he's better than Joe Torre, but
Okay, I got 3 more.
all right.
Rick Aguilera.
Nailed down. I mean, he just locked down. Yeah.
Okay. Tom Glavine. Did I already ask you Tom Glavine?
Yeah.
Okay, then screw it. I got one more. I lost my place. The 1991 World Series in general.
Oh, awesome series. Really, edge of your seat.
I got one for you. Flip it on me. Ask me.
1991 World Series.
Underappreciated.
Yeah, absolutely, dude.
Because you look online, baseball purists all talk about it, but when you hear everyday people talk about it, this isn't a World Series they talk about.
No, it's not.
Underappreciated.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
It had everything in a series you want. Timely hitting, great pitching. You know, managerial moves. I mean, fall classic.
Well, that concludes that. To wrap it up, though, we're going to plug another sponsor, which we're not used to plugging. And I saved this one for last because we got to talk about this one. So, Glary Guitars. Check them out on Facebook or on the internet at glarymusic.com. Glary is spelled Glarry. Very, very reasonable and affordable instruments. I bought a GT 501 and 502. I say it every episode. I'll say it every episode. I bought 2 $80 acoustics a piece that play like and play arguably better than some of their $300 to $500 competitors. I call mine a Canon guitar because of how damn loud it is. I had very little adjustment out of the box, so basically it's almost ready to go. Give them a call at 1-606-404-6286. That's Glary Guitars. You will not be disappointed.
Anybody wanting to start playing a guitar?
Good beginner guitar.
Anybody, yeah.
Or a cheap, and I hate to say cheap. I'm not going to say cheap. Who want an affordable campfire guitar? Yeah. Not a camp wood guitar. For all the people that make jokes about a campfire guitar, you play it and then you throw it in the fire. It's a campfire, not a camp wood guitar.
Quality guitar for affordable price.
Right. So we have to talk about, we plug them last because we have reached a point where we have to make an executive decision here.
Right.
So we talked last week about I'm basically stealing a guitar for them for dollars to donuts.
Yeah.
So I have not purchased that yet. And I haven't yet. I told them they would ship the guitar for practically nothing. I mean, I've only got to pay. I've obviously going to have to pay for it. I'm getting a hell of a discount plus shipping. I mean, I'm basically buying this guitar for well under $100. I have not bought it yet. They told us that they would ship us one with a discount if we'd plug them on the next episode. I need to get in contact with them. But I had originally told them that we had 2, possibly 3 more episodes in the canon first. So I'm going to leave this decision to you. Do I go ahead and order the guitar this week and we start prepping for that? Or do you want to do one more sports issue to give us a little more cushion time to buy the guitar?
Let's do a little more cushion time.
You want one more?
Yeah.
Well, then I need to pause the recorder real fast and go because I forgot to bring our episode list in. So you want to wait another week or so?
Yeah.
Okay, so what are we gonna do the week we do that? You still want to do the Kisstory thing? Cover Kiss and play the guitars and talk about the...
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, but because I told them we had 2, possibly 3 episodes in the can, and you want to go ahead and finish that out yet and do...
Unless you think...
Well, no, that's fine. The fuck are we gonna talk about? I've got some ideas. I can run some by you. Look at the list. The list has expanded to 65 episodes now.
Well, run some by me.
Well, one of the things I wrote down at work was the top 10, because I like when we do our top 10 list, the top 10 draft busts of all time. That's... Ethan just kind of turned his head and looked at us, man. That's across all sports. I mean, we'll rank them across... We'll just, the list might have NBA, NFL... That's a good one.
Yeah.
Top 10 draft busts. I keep going back to this 2013 Heat Spurs NBA Finals.
Great finals, yeah.
Yeah, we could do Magic versus Bird. That's always in the list. I just wrote on this one, busting contracts. I think I just did that as kind of an inside joke, but I know that's important to you because... I don't know where I'll start. I think that'd be opinion. We have yet to do a hockey episode. We talked about a minute ago when we had it paused. And I've only have 2 hockey things wrote down, which don't mean we have to go with those. It's got 2017, we just talked about while the recorder was off. My Preds, your Pens. You guys cheated to win the Stanley Cup. And an incredible feat in all sports that's not been duplicated. 4 straight world championships when the Islanders won 4 straight cups. Will be a bunch of foreign names we can't pronounce all that well.
Yeah.
We just did baseball. I'd hate to do back-to-back baseball. Yeah. This one, is the love in my heart. This one here, it says, I just wrote, and it might not be accurate. We might flip it a little bit, but I wrote The Rise of Professional Wrestling. We've got, like, Jack versus Arnie. I don't know. Was it we talked about this at work? I don't know how I would do this one. Was it Phil Jackson or was it the player? Dole, hot take. Was it Phil Jackson or was it the players?
The players.
The player. Ooh.
A lot of times.
I'm gonna tap the mic for
that. Like that would have been responsible for the success or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the players. A lot of the time, it's gonna be the players.
Okay, how about this one? This is an episode me and Kurt were gonna do. And I'm just going to ask you for a hot take. If it wasn't MJ, then who?
You mean like...
The face of basketball. If it wasn't MJ, then who? Shaq?
The field.
The field?
Well, like basically it was going to be MJ, so...
You see Kurt's face.
There's really nobody else.
He set the bar pretty high.
I also had this one. I don't even know how the fuck I would do this one, but this one seemed fun. Top 10 worst seasons in sports, which would be like teams like...
That's kind of an interesting... keep that in there.
Keep that one in there?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. What do you want me to... What do you want to do? Do you want me to pick something?
Yeah,
you want to pick something?
I'll let you pick. I mean,
well, fuck.
I'll give you. I kind of like the what you just said. There, the 10
worst teams in sports history.
The 10 busts.
10 draft busts. I can think of several busts off the top of my head. In basketball, you had what? Sam Bowie, Anthony Bennett, Greg Oden.
Who?
Kwame Brown.
Kwame Brown.
Jimmer Fredette.
That's what I said.
He wasn't drafted.
Jimmer Fredette. He was
maybe drafted, but not super high. It wouldn't have been like a buzz.
Nah, he was pretty hyped though. Adam Morrison.
Yeah.
NFL, you got guys like Ryan Leaf.
Yeah.
I refuse to call Jamarcus Russell a bust. Guy that's 6'8", 260 pounds, and can throw a ball downfield so goddamn far.
Was one of the biggest busts in football history.
Shh, I don't want to hear that. John Elway said a guy that's 6'8", 270 and can throw a football 70, 80 yards downfield with the flick of a wrist is not a bust. Well, he played like one.
Yeah, he did.
John Elway must have CTE.
Should brothels be legal too?
Absolutely.
This is why we never get shit done. When Dole gets a mic, podcasts are going to go from 2 hours to 6 hours. And the problem is, it'll all be funny as fuck. People can't turn it away. You can't stop looking at a train wreck.
I mean, that's... you go ahead and pick. I mean...
Oh, God. Why do I always have to be the one to pick?
Well, I mean...
What's something we haven't done before? NASCAR,
yeah,
hockey, soccer. We're never doing soccer. We're never, sorry people, we're never doing soccer.
No.
That's not the real football. Maybe across the world it is. In America, that's not the real football.
No soccer.
Yeah, we're not doing soccer. I mean, maybe tennis. I don't know. Just because
soccer is the most popular sport in the world.
Yeah, nobody likes soccer. That's what I told.
I mean,
soccer literally is the most popular sport.
I know, but it's funny just because
2-1 every time is not exciting. 1-0.
Most Americans don't like soccer.
And honestly, my take on soccer is if I ran all the way down the field
for nothing and had to run all the way back,
and the goalie kick it on the other end of the,
you're walking off.
Yeah, I'm out. I mean, yellow card, red card. What the fuck is that?
Well, it's power play in hockey.
That's different.
Yeah.
Oh God, fuck it. Okay.
It's not different than them cards.
Well,
it means the exact same thing.
Yeah, does that a player have to sit out if he gets a yellow card?
Yeah.
I thought it was like a free kick or something.
Well, the yellow card is a warning.
Oh.
But they have to play shorthanded sometimes too. I don't know what it's called or whatever. But
Well, I mean, in hockey it's called shorthanded. I mean,
well, soccer's definitely more popular than hockey, especially when.
Not according to the Canadians.
What the fuck?
I thought Canada was. Not even,
God.
Canada shouldn't even be its own country.
Steel toes and scoreboards has now gone political. Canada shouldn't even be its own country.
What's the matter with Canada, eh?
They got great maple syrup.
Oh yeah, I love
crepes. They do crepes, which crepes
Good fishing
is.
up there too.
It's what?
Good fishing up there.
Yeah, for sure.
Beautiful women up there, eh?
I don't know about beautiful, but they're not sports up there. I know.
My fucking God! I got the recorder up.
What? How many? They're not as whorish up there.
They're not. They're more loyal and more domestic.
Oh my
domesticated.
God!
We don't have many of them around these parts.
No, we don't.
Wow! Cut his mic off. He don't even have a mic to cut off yet. God, this ain't bonus content yet. You gotta save this shit for the bonus episodes. I just totally lost my fucking train. Okay, I'm gonna light a cigarette and pray to God we don't lose any sponsors. And I'm gonna pick us a fucking bonus
There you go.
or a topic. Oh yeah, the macho man, Randy Savage.
Me and Elizabeth. Yeah.
Elizabeth, I love you. I watched.
They're both gone, aren't they?
Yeah. I could talk wrestling for hours, dude. That's my passion. I am a, just like it says in the open, I am a fountain of useless professional wrestling. Now, you see it on hand firsthand at work.
Yeah, it's
I can rattle off dates and statistics.
It's pretty comical. I mean, Adam,
Do you want to hear a funny story?
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, so this past week, August of '99. So 20 years ago this week, whatever, 22 years ago, Adam comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, bud." He goes,
big wrestling day, because he likes to pick on me about my wrestling knowledge. So, Adam, getting off track for a minute, Adam goes, hey, bud, 22 years ago today, big day in wrestling history. I said, what? What are you talking about? He goes, oh, gosh, bud, everybody knows this. And he rolled his eyes like he's poking fun of me. He goes, somebody made a major debut. And I said, this was August, whatever the date was, 99. I said, the only guy that made a debut, I said, Chris Jericho made his debut in WWF. I said they were Monday Night Raw live, came out in front of the ring, interrupted The Rock. Adam goes, you're so fucking stupid. He goes, thousands of people debut in companies. He said, how the fuck you going to know what guy was who? I said, I was August of 99. I said, in 99, I said, Austin would have been on top with the title belt, feuding with Triple H and Mankind, Mick Foley. I said they were making their way towards SummerSlam in 99, held in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I said that's where Jesse the Body Ventura would have been the guest ref. Governor Jesse Body Ventura. Adam goes, just shut up. Because I can't stop it. It's like word vomit. I am a fountain of useless wrestling knowledge.
Yeah.
The day we do an episode on here about wrestling is the day you probably won't get one single word in edgewise. Could you just be sitting here like, oh my God, this is so stupid. I got something cool I got to show you. We're supposed to be picking a topic. So, there's a damn good friend in the pro wrestling world. My Facebook is littered with people that are part of the business. Whether they used to work for the big time, for Vince and other people, whether they work the independent scene. I'm friends with ring crew guys, announcers, wrestlers, managers, referees. One of the best friends I've ever made through the love of wrestling is a guy that lives in a little town called Winterville, North Carolina. His name's Wes Potter. He's an independent referee, refs under the name Ron Mills. His hero is Ric Flair. Okay? 1983 Starrcade, Ric Flair faced Harley Race, the first Starrcade, which was kind of like the precursor almost to, because Vince came out with WrestleMania 2 years later. Starrcade was the NWA WCW's version of WrestleMania. It was always in December. Flair, it was called a Flair for the Gold. It was him and Harley Race in a steel cage for the NWA Championship. Flair is always known for his custom beautiful robes. And arguably, Flair's most beautiful robe was this blue and greenish and teal and gold. And somehow, and I don't know how this is possible, he's never told me the story, but I've been damn good friends with this guy for 7 years now. West came into possession and now owns Ric Flair's Starrcade 83 robe. And some of the swatches had ended up falling out of the robe. And he ended up emblazing them on a plaque and was selling them for $45. And I got one, and I've told people this story, and they're like, that's bogus bonus bullshit. That's not true. That's fake. Well, then I direct them to an article that was online that was released in the early 20-teens where somebody's like, hey, this guy has possession of Ric Flair's robe. And a funny story, people still didn't believe me. And then earlier this summer, the TV network A&E started doing a program called WWE's Most Wanted Treasures. That robe was on that episode. And in the background, Ric Flair's daughter, Charlotte Flair, her real name's Ashley. She goes by Charlotte because the NWA hotbed was in Charlotte. That's where Flair did his biggest business. She goes to West's house. She's wearing her dad's robe. And they're trying to sell it. And knowing West, I was like, this dude's not going to sell the robe. And I tried to get him to tell me about it for weeks, and he wouldn't do it because he signed a gag order. He never sold it, but you can see in the background the plaques he had made from the rope. So I'll show you a picture of it sometime. It's cool as shit.
I like Ric Flair. Nature boy.
We just spent like 10 minutes talking about fuck it! Let's do a wrestling episode next week. I don't know what we'll even talk about.
I'll be down. I mean, my knowledge...
Your knowledge is where it gets good. It's in the 70s and 80s and early 90s.
It goes as far as Bret, Hitman Hart, and
Undertaker and Bret Hart were my guys.
I mean, Undertaker, I was getting out of it then.
Oh man, you ought to see my Facebook. It's littered with Undertaker stuff. Did you know that at one time, part of a storyline, there was 2 Undertakers?
Did not know that.
Oh, really? Because here's my profile picture on Facebook. Look.
I'll be damned.
Look at that. He
took
some time off in '94. Was healing up a back injury and was spending some time with his family. So they wrote him off TV for 8 months. And to bring him back in the storyline, he had completely dyed his hair black because at that point it was kind of brown and red. So that's when he came back, and that's when he debuted in the purple. And the fake Undertaker that they were wrestling around for weeks at a time was actually a friend of his that wrestled for Jim Cornette and Smoky Mountain, primetime Brian Lee.
So they actually had a stunt.
This was a storyline. I mean, the real Undertaker, Mark Calloway, has always been the Undertaker, but as part of an angle, a storyline, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, who originally brought the Undertaker in Survivor Series 1990, was, he claimed he'd found the Undertaker after he had disappeared, and he brought him back. Of course, it was fake as shit. I could tell as 94, I was 7. I could tell as a 7-year-old kid because of how much that wasn't the Undertaker.
Right.
Try be damned, you weren't going to fool me. And then, sure enough, Survivor Series, he came back, and they faced off the Undertaker. Isn't that not a cool picture, though?
I mean, of course, the purple Undertaker.
That's the real Undertaker, yeah.
He won it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, they look similar, quite a bit similar.
Well, fun story. The Undertaker, and here's another picture. This is taken backstage. This picture didn't get released to the internet till I think about 8 years ago. Somebody had it in their personal collection and released it. Here was taken in the locker room. There's Paul Bearer standing with both Undertakers. The fake one and the real one's over here on the right. Yeah. Obviously that's Mark Calloway, and then that's they call him the Under-Faker. There's a size difference.
Yeah.
Mark's supposed to be about 6'10", almost 7 foot. Brian was probably about 6'6".
His guns are a little bigger, didn't they?
Yeah. If they would have put elevator, which in the wrestling business they call them elevators in their boots, it's what gives the monster heels the appearance of being this towering. If they would have put elevators in Brian's boots, it would have really played off pretty well. But you can just see it in the face. They don't look a fucking thing alike.
No, they don't. No, not even close.
But that's a cool picture. And they had a makeup and artist company from California come into all the events and would apply the tattoos on Brian's arms to match the real Undertaker. And, of course, Jerry the King Lawler, for those that don't know, Jerry the King Lawler is a hell of an artist. That's how he got out of Vietnam, was going to art school.
Really?
Yeah. Lawler ended up saying he could do a better job. Lawler hand drew all the tattoos before every show on the fake Undertaker to mimic the ones on the real one.
That's pretty cool.
So, yeah. But that's, see how passionate I get? So you want to talk a little pro wrestling next week?
Yeah, we can do that.
Just turn it on, talk about wrestling, and see what happens? Or are we going to cover something specific?
I'd say
just talk about it.
Just talk about some wrestling.
You know it's going to make me happy because I've been wanting to do this.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done a Pittsburgh Steelers episode for you. I think you could.
Oh yeah.
I think you could give me one back.
We'll do wrestling.
Okay.
Unless you want to do a specific topic, man.
We'll figure that out. We got. See, there it goes again.
Yeah,
we'll do some wrestling.
Yeah.
Doll, you want in on pro wrestling talk?
I wouldn't have a lot to say on that, I don't believe. But.
Yeah, he's got the voice for radio. We got the face. Okay, so all right, Kurt, let's wrap this up here. We got hell off sidetrack there.
Yeah, well.
But hope you guys enjoyed this episode. The Kurt's words were, I don't remember. My word was underappreciated. The underappreciated. Yeah. And that's top 10 World Series number 2. According to ESPN. Word fits,
definitely underappreciated. It don't ever get talked about.
No. Mark.
Pagler. I can't say it now.
Charlie
Lee Brandt. There we go.
Oh man, I had a lot of fun. All right, guys. So for Kurt Kelly and for Ethan Doyle, our third anchor, who eventually will sit at the table when my tight ass decides to buy another mic. We will catch you guys later.
God bless.
Yep. God bless.